let's see غنفيريفي واش حنا لايف. كاين شي واحد يقدر يفيريفي واش حنا لايف. I'll do it.
I can do that.
Your channel, view your channel. Okay, this is your channel. We are live. كيبان من هنا. كول كنبانو لايف. يا ايها الناس اللي مكونكتي قلنا واش كتسمعونا ما كتسمعوناش. الا كنتو كتسمعونا كتبوا هاي ان شات باش نعرفوا باللي الصوت خدام الفيديو خدام باش نطلقوا الفراجه. Okay, I see people saying hi in chat, so I guess راحنا كنتسمعوا. Cool. All right. Okay, we see a bunch of people that are watching, which is good. باش الناس ما يكونوش غالطين هاد الستريم هذا is for the editorial of the MNPC 2023. We will start editorial in 2 minutes. أنا ما نخليو ناس كتر يزيدوا. How do you share screen? Present. Share screen. Share screen. This guy. Yeah, so غنحاولوا ندوزو على كاع البروبلمز. معنا تقريبا كاع الاوثرز نتاع كاع البروبلمز. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody. غنحاولوا ندوزو على كاع البروبلم set. We're gonna go through the ideas and potentially implementation details. إذا كان somebody like think his implementation or his problem is kind of delicate with regards to implementation. Please ask questions. وإذا سولتي الكويستيون معطلة please refer to the problem باش نعرفوك على ايش كتهضر. Other than that, I guess we can start. الدراري عندكم شي حاجة تقولها قبل ما نبداو؟ نضا.
I don't know, like المهم كان بزاف ديال controversial discussions على هاد
let's keep that discussion.
I think داكشي باش خصنا نبداو بسم الله فهمتي.
انت بغيتي تبدا بها انا كنت عوالت ليها. اللي بغيتي تبداو بها نبداو بها.
اخويا نبداو فهمتي بالcontroversials then we keep on مع الاديتوريال. I think زعما الحوايج اللي we got maybe فهمتي في الفيدباك في الكونتست هو maybe we had some problems let's say فهمتي standard problems. This is one comment that we got. Our answer again إلا كانوا standard I think everyone would solve them. This is a national contest ماشي contest اللي مقاد for a specific category ديال الناس فهمتي. دونك يقدر تلقى شي توبيك اللي بالنسبه لك انت ستاندرد ولا شفتيه بزاف د المرات ولكن الكونتيستنس اخرين ما عمرهم شافوه ما عمرهم سمعوا به. ما حدنا كاينين في دوك توبيكس اللي كاينين في الاي سي بي سي سيلابيس. I think we are good. I don't know زعما يقدر كاينين other comments اللي we got maybe some problems we had فيهم issues during the contest. I think كل problem author غيهضر على البروبلم ديالو. but as a general comment, this is a national contest. This is like for everybody. كاينين الناس اللي فهمتي اللي يلا بداو كاينين الناس اللي دوزوا بزاف د الكونتست. المهم هادشي كنحاولوا اكوموديتو بزاف ديال واحد السبيكتروم اللي هو كبير. و ميبي فهمتي بعض المرات يقدر تبان لك شي حاجه اللي انت اللي تريفيل فهمتي اللي تريفيل ولا شفتيها بزاف د المرات او لا يو دونت سي ايفن ذا فاليو اوت اوف ات. هاد الفاليو اوت اوف ات اتليست ما في هذا السبيسيفيك كونتست I will try at least في البروبلمز اللي I suggested اليوسفولنس ديالهم in real life where they are used. I heard a lot of comment about one specific problem ديال polynomial multiplication with fast Fourier transform, why it is used, why it's even in this context. هاد الحوايج of course like 350 is used in many things. It's used in like image conversion. It's used باش دير مثلا filters على images. It's actually a polynomial multiplication with the fast Fourier transform. It's used in convolution. So like another thing من غير هاد زعما الكونتست as it is, we try to give problems اللي you can face maybe later on in your professional career. If you don't see the usefulness of them at this specific point in time, it does not mean that they are not useful. Maybe we will talk about specific problems later on. I think this is what I wanted to say. I apologize on behalf of everyone. I think on some technical problems that happened during the contest, they were out of our control. We tried our best to have like a good contest at the end, and to our evaluation, I think it was a good contest. It was a fair contest. If someone felt uncomfortable during the contest for a reason or another, we apologize. And of course, this is an ongoing process. This is an ongoing improvement, and yeah, I think this is what I wanted to say.
All right. I guess Hamid kind of like went through the drama weekend for last week about quality of the problem set, some of the issues that happened to the people who were on the contest floor. For the case of the end, now we don't. Most of the اللي جايين are, I guess, interested with Darul Mirror. They couldn't really attend to the MNPC live, so Darul Mirror, and they are interested in knowing how to solve the problems. Oh la, they actually attended and they didn't see all the drama, and then they just wanted to know about the issue, the actual solutions. وهادشي اللي جايين حنا نديرو. Okay, let's get to the meaty stuff. كان مازال عندكم questions ديال drama about the drama, we can take them all at the end. It's all fun.
Great.
All right. I'll get back to the editorial. So let's see. You guys like we have some stats. هاد stats هادو ماشي ديال الميرور. These stats are mainly about the باش تعرفوا like to compare the stats اللي كاينين في الميرور اللي you can find in the link مع the actual problem set اللي كاين the actual contest اللي كان on site. So you can see that the most solved problem is Azuz to the stars. No surprise, it's the hardest problem for set, and everybody managed to solve it. And Omar plays dice was kind of like it tried 146 times, but only solved 6 times. So I'm not sure how this maps. واش هادشي كيبقى هو في الميرور ولا لا. I saw a problem that wasn't solved. Shuffle dance, right? Shuffle dance is still unsolved. Yeah, different mirror. Okay.
Which is surprising, right?
It's very surprising. Yeah.
Because when we were developing this, we never thought. Actually, if I had to pick, I would have picked probably A or C. So either Handshakes, Omar, or
Yeah.
Right?
They're like
You solved this Khalil, I think, outside like the contest,
Yeah.
contest.
Yes.
I don't think you faced any difficulties with it. So no, I didn't think the might would not be solved, but
yeah.
We can actually go through the expected difficulty على كل problem في الآخر.
Yeah, if this is interesting to people. I don't think Jay was on anybody's list.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can do it even now. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can go over the difficulty now.
All right, let me ask you one by one.
Exactly.
Okay, Anwar, what do you think about the contest? What's your hardest? What is the hardest problem? You are muted. You are muted.
اختار البروبلم ديالك.
For me, صراحة I don't have a great judgment على problems الآخرين. ولكن I'm surprised a problem اللي حطيت ما كانش عنده ما جربوهش بزاف ديال التيمز. That's it. I think the others I was expecting انهم يكونوا more solved في meetings اللي كنا كنديرو قبل على problem setting. كنا worried أن الكونتست يكون too easy.
Okay.
Turns out.
Okay, this explains some things. Thank you for explaining this. Really, أصلاً déjà problem set, we thought it was on the easy side. And we didn't manage to solve all the problems, which is all right. All right, thank you, Anwar. How about Azzuz? يلا خير Azzuz.
Yeah, أنا كان عندي the same concern صراحة على difficulty of the contest. And I think زعما the hardest problems كانوا in my opinion I think are still the hardest problems صراحة هما مجيد لاند و handshakes. In fact وقع إلا شفتي handshakes راه كانوا some teams اللي solved it اللي really they know how to solve it ولكن راه attempts كانوا قليلين بزاف, which explains بلي راه the problem is أصلا is a little bit hard. وأصلا I think I've seen some questions ولا clarifications اللي كانوا على هذا البروبلم هذا اللي كان people having trouble to understand. وكانوا mostly teams اللي يلا بداو they couldn't judge the difficulty of the problem. Yeah, but my favorite problem is twisted gboard. My favorite at the contest.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Azzuz. Ahmed.
اوكي بالنسبه لي المهم الهاردست problems maybe في contest is بالنسبه لي انا handshakes. I could not come up with any solution because I needed knowledge before. I didn't know that. Or maybe my problem L is also hard. I think, and also like from the stats it explains that it's hard. Maybe it was tried 30 times. I think it was intuitive to understand, but it was not like it's not really it's not easy. وبالنسبه للهاندشيكس why like كانوا 15 attempts I think because اصلا ماشي intuitive. You could understand what you want ولكن زعما if you don't have prior knowledge على شي حوايج you will not be able like to solve them واخا تعطاك تاع عام تما. It's not زعما this is how I interpreted هادشي. My favorite problem actually it's Hamza's problem, Minesweeper square. Yeah, this is it. And like interestingly, it was tried in just 6 times. It was quite weird.
To be honest, like هذاك البروبلم بالضبط I guess like people were wise not to try it in context. هذاك نجربه في الميرور ما نجربوش لايف.
Exactly.
It'll take you ages to code and it'll be potentially buggy and then you'll spend like an hour and a half غير باش تجيب accepted في واحد, so maybe not worth it.
Yeah, that's all for me. Like that's my favorite problem.
Okay, thank you Ahmed. Let's go to Suhail.
Hey, alors بالنسبة لي أنا the hardest problem donc I share the same idea بحال أحمد was A. Yeah, I thought فاش كنا كنقادروا problem sets كان جاني صعيب. And also my favorite problems هو A. Because فاش solution ديالو I thought something that got me to learn something new. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you Suhail. Let me see Hamza.
hello كتسمعوني؟
Yeah.
انا بالنسبه لي انا ما كنتش متوقع هاد البروبلمز كانوا غيتصولفوا بهذا الاوردر. خصوصا شي بروبلمز نقول غادي تصولفوا حتى الاخير حتى الساعه الاخرانيه ولا عاد تصولفوا مثلا ماين سويبر مثلا تصولفها بكري تصولفها بجوج سوايع مع 3 السوايع الاولانيين فهمتي خلاو البروبلم اللي ساهلين بقاو حتى الاخر. دونك هذه واحد الحاجه اللي من الحوايج اللي بانوا لي في شكل. هاردست بروبلم بالنسبه ليا I don't know maybe A كان هو كنت كنقول ماليش يتصولفا كاع ساعات تصولفا. That's it.
Okay, thank you حمزة. خليل.
Wow. Okay, for my end, actually, it's very tricky because I think the hardest problems for me when I read the problems were probably Omar plays dice and Majid in Majidland. I'll tell you why. I think the ideas, for me, you can never get to those ideas, at least in my case, by yourself, like not having the prior knowledge. I would have never thought of using FFT or even polynomials. In fact, that was my discussion with Hamid after. It's like completely skipped my mind. I think a lot of people went my route because we see 146 times trial. I think also Omar plays dice is very easy to do a brute force solution. It's very understandable. You're like, I know my probabilities. I just need to multiply and get the sum. For handshakes, no, because you're like, you have this set of connected components. You need to, like, already just to get to a smaller problem, you need enough background. So I would say it's for me hardest were C and L. Surprised at twisted Gboard and smooth shuffle dance. At least twisted Gboard, I thought maybe more. I think it's a problem I would have seen solved. Like, you know, once you do CP in my brain, after some point, some problem become intuitive. It's more like you have the muscle for them. You do a bunch of let's say graph problems, you kind of get that muscle, you understand how it flows. So I was like, maybe those more. Minesweeper, I'm actually surprised anybody solved it. I would have never put my hands on the keyboard for Minesweeper. Even reading it, I tell you, I read the problems, I made it to Minesweeper, I had to take a break and I read it over 2 days. Yeah, so but overall, I think, you know what, and maybe we can get to this at the end, so I don't want to take too much time. I think a lot of it during the contest, at least, was the scoreboard misled a lot of people into thinking some problems were easier. I think we saw handshakes very early on being solved. I was like, I thought I'm not gonna hand any balloons for those. Yeah, and that's my take.
Yeah. I guess,
مهدي
no, I mean, like, pushing نقول لك عزوز to the stars is the hardest problem. Yeah, but like I kind of second Khalil's point. To me, Omar plays dice is kind of like super freaking hard. اعطيني l'implementation del F50 هاي حدايا and I would never have solved it. نشوفها هاي حدايا ما solved. It would have never got to my head unless I would have solved this probably unless اعطيني الimplementation to F50 وقول لي حمد حطها. Maybe. In that case, I would have like some prior knowledge that Hamid probably had F50. But yeah, Omar plays this is one of like the hardest problems. Also, smooth shuffle dance. She solved 0 times. It's very, very surprising. And I must solve it tomorrow. This صراحة is very confusing. And maybe if we shed some light into it today, it would be like very obvious. Okay, so this is this expected solution. Why? Maybe we're wrong about the solution. I hope not. But okay. So ضربنا الدورة على كاع problems. I guess like I hope this gives you like some idea about like expectations inside judges. 2 takeaways here. The contest be like we want to make a contest that appeals. So the way بين قوسين فاش كنبغيو نصاوبوا problem set فاش كنجلسوا مجموعين like 2 months or 3 months before the contest كنجلسوا تنبقاو نقولوا okay, so we need to make a problem set. The goal ديالنا ديما تيكون ان everyone for the 5 hours نتاع الكونتست خصو يكون عنده ما يدير. هذاك اللي ما عمرو جرب السي بي، هذاك اللي اول كونتيست ديالو هو هذاك، وهذاك الفيتران اللي دار 3 ام ان بي سي وكيشارك في كود جام وهاكر كاب وكود فورسز وما كيسقل تا كونتيست. خصنا كاملين يكون عندهم ما يدار، ما يوصلش واحد ستيج اللي يسولفي كل شيء ويجلس.
ايمن غير الصوت.
اللي يسولفي كل شيء ويجلس، ولا ما يقدر يسولفي حتى شي حاجه. So to
المهم
make
خلينا رياض الصوت حتى الاخر.
yeah so to strike this balance is very very hard. So in our head احنا كاملين you can see that we had expectations. We expected that problem to be solved and that problem to be solved more, but it turns out that a lot of these expectations ما تشوش في الاخر. We got like a lot of surprises. Omar plays dice solve all kind of within the first 2 hours. Handshakes solve up the first 2 hours. These are problems that we thought nobody would solve. Even worse, Minesweeper square we thought nobody would touch, and then it also ends up being solved in the first 2 hours. So ده واخا كنعياو نخططو ونهندسو في الاخر كيجيو وكيخرجوا هكا دي بريفيو هادو, which is always nice and fun to watch in a contest. هادو هما الحوايج اللي بغيت كان هايلايتي هنايا. Alright, طلعنا لكم في راسكم بالهضره. We need to get to the editorial. So let us get to the editorial section. And if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments.
Comment your the problem اللي جاكم صعيب.
Yep. Yeah.
Subscribe, like.
Subscribe, دير لايك عزاز يوتيوبر قديم.
فعلوا الجرس.
فعلوا الجرس. Okay, let's go. Handshakes. Anwar, to explain this. I'm gonna.
Okay. Problem statement 1 عندنا graph فيه n nodes m edges, كل node عنده واحد label AI, و each 2 nodes اللي كاينين في نفس connected component they shake their hands, and when they do we have to add the greatest common divisor ما بين AI و AJ to the answer, and the goal هو أننا نريبورتيو sum ديال all of these GCDs. So next slide. The classic solution إلا كان عندنا one connected component هو أننا ندوزو على divisors themselves and then find هذوك multiples and then count the number of pairs that we can that contribute لهذاك GCD أنه يكون محسوب في الانسر. ديجا غير من this kind of problems فاش كتشوف constraints على AI you have a hint. ملي كتشوف AI inférieur à 10 à puissance 5 فراه it's good to think about this kind of solutions. Others being فاش كيكون شي problem على divisors و ما كيكونوش constraints صغار على ال values ديال A، ديك الساعة يمكن لك دير شي حاجة فيها square root ولا something different. But this is classic فاش كيكونوا ال constraints على AI faible بحال هكذا. و دونك فاش كدوز على كل divisor كتشوف المولتيبلز ديالو وكتشوف اين مولتيبلز اللي كاينين في داك الكونكتد كومبوننت. دونك هنايا غير في السيت كله و خاصك و number of pairs اللي هاد divisor يكون كيديفيزي الا كان هو الجي سي دي ديالهم، فراه هو number of numbers اللي number of multiples ديال دي times the number of multiples ديال d minus 1 divided by 2. So here number of multiples choose 2, but you also have to subtract contributions ديال multiples ديال d. دونك مثلا إلا لقيتي بأن دي كيديفايزي AI AJ فراه ومثلا زدتي دي الانسر for هاد pair خاصك تشيكي اوسي واش دو دي كيديفيزي اي و اجي in which case فراه ما خاصش دي تحسب في الانسر. دونك كدير بحال واحد second loop كتشيكي المولتيبلز ديال دي وكتنقص الكونتريبيوشن ديالو. و we can also avoid this هاد les opérations de subtraction الى درنا غير بفي الى خاص غير نعرفوا ان لا سوم ديال في دي و دي ديفيز ان نومبر ان كتساوي ان. دونك الى كانوا عندنا دو نومبر ا اي و ا جي وبغينا نعرفوا الجي سي دي ديال ا اي و ا جي نقدروا اولا ندوزو على ديفايزر ديال اي اي و for each divisor كنشوفوا كنزيدوا في ديال دي وكنخليو ان كنماركيو ان هاد دي لقيناه ديفايزر وموراها فاش غندوزو على لي ديفيزور ديال ا جي سيباريمون من بعد every time غنشيكي واش داك الديفايزر تستعمل في for AI in which case كنزيدو في دي سينو ما كنزيدوش. وهذه you can extend it ل n numbers. دونك ماشي ضروري تكون غير بير واحد، خصك غير تشيكي شحال من number يمكن لك تاسوسيي هاد النمبر AJ معاه وكنزيدو هذاك في ديف وهذيك الكونتريبيوشن to the answer. but هادشي ما يخدمش for this problem لان ما عندناش component واحد. دونك الى درنا هاد اللوب اللي كندوزو على all divisors and check their multiples غيكون it won't work لان فاش كدير time complexity you find that it won't fit. Donc next slide. Puisque AI inférieur à 10 à puissance 5 نقدروا for each component اولا نلقاو النودز اللي كاينين في هذاك الكومبوننت ب depth search ومن بعد for each AI في هذا الكومبوننت كندوزو على الديفايزرز ديالو ب square root d. دونك كندوزو على all numbers between 1 and square root AI and find the divisor ديال AI. Donc square root A غتكون inférieur à 10 à la puissance 2.5 و كنديروا نفس لوبيراسيون ديال كنشيكيو شحال من نمبر عنده داك الديفيزور دي كديفايزر and we add في d times number of multiples ديال d اللي ديجا لقينا and we add 1 to هذاك الكاونتر and time complexity غتكون هي n square root a plus a log a. donc a log a هي داك pre-computation time لفي. it can be done faster but this fits. n square root a means that for each number غنديرو نقلبوا على divisors exactly once, so with n square root a time complexity. donc total n square root a and this fits the time complexity. what's surprising علاش ما for me ان كاين شويه ديال tries في هاد problem هو ان الكومبوننتس ديال a naive solution في هاد البروبلم can be simple at least إلا كنتي familiar مع GCD و familiar مع basic graph algorithms like DFS. so هنا the naive thing would be to run a DFS for each node from each node اللي باقي ماشي explored, and when you find that whole component you do like an n square, like a quadratic algorithm اللي كتشوف AI AJ and you just add DCD AJ to answer. for a naive solution, I don't think you need it that much. I agree that انك تستعمل totient function might have been a bit hard. We actually debated واش نزيدو ذاك الفاكت ديال sum of phi day كتساوي n, ولكن it still wouldn't have helped that much if you don't I mean there's still things to do. So yeah, this is everything for problem A. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Anwar. If you have questions about problem handshakes, please reach out in chat. We'll make sure that Anwar tries and answer them. I don't see any in chat, Daba. So maybe people will have a think about Hadshad, and maybe by the end of the stream, they'll ask you more questions.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, next problem is economy expert, and that's Hamza. Hamza.
Okay, economy expert. Donc هذا هو البروبلم ديال in district عندك in districts عندك emeralds وعندك few pairs of districts. دونك كتكونستراكتي بعدا السيتي ديالك in districts اللي كيتعطاو لك initially. والتاسك ديالك هو خاص تلقى الماكسيموم economic growth. دابا داك few pairs of districts كتكون اسوسيي لهم واحد الايكونوميك فاليو. دونك كل بير من داك الكيو بيرز كتكون عندهم واحد الايكونوميك فاليو، والسكور كيفاش كيتحسب كتشوف في الفاينل جراف ديالك الا كان واحد البير من داك البيرز كونيكتد في الفاينل جراف كتزيد داك الفاليو للسكور ديالك. التاسك هو تقدر تاجوتي رود واحد ماكسيموم، يعني تقدر تزيد واحد اتموس ولا تقدر ما تزيد والو باش تماكسيميزي داك الماكسيموم جروث فاليو. اوكي next slide. اوكي دونك هنا ديجا كتبت عطيت سوليسيون اوبتيمال سوليوشن ديريكت، ما هضرتش على نايف سوليوشنز. نايف سوليوشنز كنتي مثلا تقدر تكونستراكتي الكونيكتد كومبوننتس وتبقى تيستي كل كونيكتد كومبوننت مع كونيكتد كومبوننتس. المهم انا هضرت لك على الاوبتيمال سوليوشن اللي كتبت انا في جادج سوليوشن. دونك اولا كان جروبيو كونيكتد كومبوننتس كاملين ب دي اس يو. دونك دابا في هاد الدايجرام اللي كيبان لكم البلو ايدجز هما الايدجز اللي الانيشال ايدجز، يعني ايدجز داك ان ايدجز، وريد ايدجز هما البيرز داك كيو بيرز اللي كيتعطاو مع الانيشال ايدجز. دونك one group edge connected component with using DSU. then كنكالكيليو الانيشال سكور. initial score كتشوف غير داك الايدجز اللي عندهم اللي كونيكتد ديجا في الكونيكتد كومبوننتس وكتزيد لهم الفاليو ديالهم للسكور الفاينل سكور. دونك هنا هذا الانيشال سكور يقدر يكون هو الاوبتيمال سوليوشن. دونك خاصك تخلي كيب ان مايند اللي يقدر يكون هو السوليوشن ديالك، ما تحتاجش تزيد شي ايدج واحد اخر. next step هو find داك الكونيكتد داك البير اوف كونيكتد كومبوننتس اللي غيعطيك الماكسيموم جروث سام. داك غادي يعطيك الماكسيموم جروث سام، يعني مي غاتكونيكتي واحد النود من الكونيكتد كومبوننت اكس للكونيكتد كومبوننت واي، غادي ديك الايدجز اللي كونيكتد بيناتهم وكينتميو لك الكيو بيرز اوف ديستريكتس غادي يعطيك الماكسيموم فاليو، يعني السام ديالهم غادي الماكسيموم فاليو. مثلا هنايا في هذا الدايجرام عندنا 3 كونيكتد كومبوننتس. عندنا كومبوننت ما بين كونيكتد كومبوننت 1 وكونيكتد كومبوننت 2 عندنا 2 ايدجز 2 ريد ايدجز، وما بين كونيكتد كومبوننت 2 وكونيكتد كومبوننت 3 عندنا 1 كونيكتد وعندنا 1 ايدج. دونك هنا باش خاصنا نعرفوها شكون فيهم اللي غادي يعطينا الماكسيموم فاليو. دونك هاد الريد ايدجز راه عندهم واحد الفاليو، دونك خاصنا نديرو السم ما بين 2 ريد ايدجز اللي كيكونيكتيو سي 1 و سي 2 ونكومباريهم مع الفاليو ديال الايدجز اللي كيكونيكتي سي 2 مع سي 3. دونك اللي فيهم حسن هو اللي غادي نزيدوه الانيشال سكور. الا كانوا بجوجهم نيجاتيف دوك الساعات ما غاديش حتى واحد فيهم وكتبقى الانيشال سكور هو الاوبتيموم سوليوشن. دونك فوالا بالنسبه للتايم كومبلكسيتي. دونك على حسب الابروتش اللي خديتي. مثلا انا في السوليوشن ديالي درت شديت داك الكيو بيرز اوف ايدجز صوتيتهم كنتي ما تقدرش تصور، ماشي ضروري تصورتيهم، تقدر دير هاش ماب مثلا. الا درتي لهم صوت غادي تزيد واحد m+m في السكوير ديالهم. سينو ما غاديش تكون عندك هذه. دي اس يو غتكون داك n+m فوا واحد سميتو واحد الكونستنت فاكتور على حساب الابروتش اللي خدمتي بها في دي اس يو. فوالا دونك هذه هي الاوبتيمال سوليوشن ديال الايكونومي اكسبرت. الا كانوا شي كويستشنز راه غنجاوب عليهم.
All right, Hamza, thank you. I guess kind of مفهوم. No questions in chat, but if anybody like wanted to ask questions, غيسولونا في chat. So thank you. Next is Alexis.
اوكي. دونك البروبليم سي عمر بلايز دايس. هذا البروبليم ان جنرال زعما عندنا واحد تو دايس عندهم اوف كورس ان فيسز ماشي ستاد الفيسز ياك، وكل فيس عنده واحد البروبابيليتي ديال الابيرنس، وعندنا واحد تارجت سام اس اللي بغينا، وهاد التاسك ديالنا هي نلقاو البروبابيليتي ديال الابيرنس ديال داك اس. اوكي، وهاد اس هو الصم ديال مثلا الا رولينا تو دايس دوك تو فيسز اللي الفوق ولا اللي كيشوفوا نفس الجهه، المهم يشوفوا نفس الجهه، يكونوا نشوفوا شنو هي البروبابيليتي ديال الابيرنس ديالهم. وان هنا ان عندنا هي 10 اس 5. next slide. اوكي، سو نايف سولوشن كما هضرنا زعما في الاول ديال ستريم، and I think this explains علاش 146 تراي في ديال الترايس في هذا البروبلم، حيت الان سكوير solution is so intuitive, it's easy to understand, easy to implement, everyone did that, and of course like ديك 146 mostly we got it في time limit. We had also one problem ولا what we noticed في الجادجين هي أغلبية was a problem with precision, and again this is one of the criticism that maybe we got في هذا البروبلم. But what we can say is حيت في precision what we did in Polygon when we set it up, it was a precision checker. في PC squared it was a precision check with 10 to the power -6. It was not a setup problem or anything of the sort. وراه كاينين اوف كورس الناس اللي زعما they solve this solution. I got a lot of comments from other contestants why my solution does not work. I can tell you, submit it on Remake, I can submit it even on Polygon. I don't think, to the best of my knowledge, we did a mistake for precisions. Plus this problem was tested with more than one solution, with more than one programming language. How I implemented, I did fixed with set precision. This is my solution. The one I implemented what was with fixed and set precision to 6. Okay, so go back to the idea of the problem. هي عندنا probability ديال كل phase, and we can again think of those probabilities, that's the coefficients of one polynomial. And مثلا بالنسبه للفيرست I just saw the comment. لا it's not a skill issue والله. It's not a skill issue. It's just maybe you were not lucky. I don't know زعما في Polygon ما عرفتش الا درتي الريميك ودازت I don't know, like because it's the same precision checker that we use anyway. Again زعما I can run your solution زعما في Polygon directly. Just reach out to me. المهم I apologize if this made your life hard. As I told you, testing زعما not more than one time. It passed on code forces. We used this. Okay, the solution that we use, we tried it قبل مثلا ما تدوزوا نتوما contest, we tried the same solutions. with the same solutions مع التشيكر ديال بي سي سكواد it worked. You were not lucky. فهمتي الله غالب فهمتي it's a part of the game sometimes you are not lucky. anyway كما قلت زعما بالنسبه الفيرست انبوت اللي كانت عندنا هي 0 2 0 3 عندنا واحد دايس ديال فيه 3 ولا 2 دايس ديال 3 ديال الفيسز. المهم الصم ديال الفيسز خصو يكون واحد. بالنسبه للفيرست polynomial we can like have we can represent it as this polynomial where 2 like is the position and 0.2 is the coefficient. If we multiply هاد two polynomials غتكون عندنا of course at most 2n ديال x أس 2n. هنا كاين 4 حيت الهايست باور اللي كانت عندنا polynomials ديالنا هما جوج. the good thing وعلاش زعما we had زعما the possibility باش نحطوا هذا البروبلم يكون harder if they had different faces. If they had different faces you will still need more knowledge on A50. It will not be the one that you have in docs will not work because you will need to accommodate for the difference. For this problem we made it simpler. ها صافي العام جاي we made it simpler. درنا نفس النمبر ديال الفيسز بالنسبه لهم بجوج. الا ضربتيها تو بولينوميالز هادشي بالنسبه للفيرست تيست كيس غتعطيك هاد البولينوميال اللي عندنا and then you can answer queries in O of 1. ومثلا بالنسبه للصم الا كان 6 راه هي البوزيشن ديال A to n minus 6 minus 2 اللي هي 0.25 في هاد الحاله. For all the solutions it is like you can answer any query up to n بنفس in O of 1. and of course like the expected solution is n log n multiplying polynomials with a 50. of course it's done in log n. I think this is what I had for this problem. I don't know دابا غادا نقرا في الشات نقرا الميمز اللي كاينين في الشات. okay if you have any questions about this problem of course I would be happy to answer, but still I will defend it and I will defend that point of precision because I think the solution didn't really the issue. صافي المهم الله يحفظك. اتليست بعدا كيكتبوا سميتي مقدم ماشي بحال شي وحدين هنا. okay if the two dice have different I think you can if the two dice have different number of faces shouldn't we just add zeros? Yes it would work if you add like more coefficients. غير ما يمكنش دير multiplication if it's not like the same size, so you will need to accommodate for the difference. Thank you. I think Anas it worked for you during the contest. It worked for you during the contest because like الناس اللي didn't work for them of course they will be so angry. Again another thing maybe for had the problem 146 كما قلنا زعما it was tried in the first 2 hours and like everyone thought okay it's the next easiest problem. Everyone tried to submit, but okay you in the first try you see الناس اللي خدمت لهم first try so it's not a problem. المهم I apologize ماشي واحد الا كان دارت فهمتي هذا البروبلم تعدى ليه على الحياه ديالو بعد be like Anas. One thing that I forgot for this problem, like the usefulness of A50, it's exactly one of the last times. I don't think we can repeat that experience anymore. You learn it, you know now that it exists. You can apply it in some in many like real world applications, as I mentioned, like with so of course with signal processing, with like with image applying like filters to images.
كتهضر على
آه،
رياكت
كو-
ولا علاش كتهضر؟
لا ايماج غتابلاي عليها فيلتر اي 50 صافي. و convolution as well, it's a part of convolution anyway.
داكشي اللي كندير في خدمتي انا يوميا، كنكتب اف اف تي في الصباح العشيه باش نبقى This is so useful. Thank you, Access.
الله يحفظك. Okay. Yeah, I think this is what I had. Okay, I think Hamza is someone pointing at you. Maybe you had a bad experience with this type of problems before. But, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sihmed.
الله يحفظك.
Who's next? Who's next? Who's
I
next?
think Access as well.
Access as well. Come
Yeah.
on, Ahmed.
Access as well.
Add insult to injury. سير.
Okay.
FFT كان واقع حتى في جيم اوف كودز واقع ياك.
كان في
كان في جيم اوف كودز.
This
ما
guy
صوبيتوش.
remember. This guy remembers. اوكي. ما عرفتش خليل واش كاين هنا. خليل اي ثينك كاين، سو غيهضر على السكند بارت ديال السولوشن اللي
Yeah.
امبليمنت هو.
يا خلي راه هنا. وين
Okay.
من ميغرم.
Okay. Sure. Okay, then we can. Yeah, I think Khalil is here. Okay, so for this problem, actually, we had a discussion about it. We had زعما في الانيشال فيرجن ديالو كي و ان كانوا كبار, but then like Khalil said, like okay, if you don't know the formula or you don't know Grandi numbers, you should have at least another way to solve the problem. So that's why, like for this problem, we expected two solutions and we implemented two solutions. One of them is using like Grandi numbers, like as a standard game theory concept. And then we used also dynamic programming for that, and Khalil will go through the solution later on. So like the game عندنا جوج ديال الناس كيلعبوا، خليل وعبد الغفور. خليل كيبدا وعندهم consecutive turns. كاين واحد I don't know فهمتي، واحد البول، واحد نسموها، انا راه كنعرفها بالشلحه فهمتي شنو بول بالعربي، ويت anyway بول، المهم شي لعيبه فيها الكوينز. اوكي، وهاد الكوينز ممكن تيكيو at each time واحد الماكسيموم كي at each turn. وحنا بغينا نعرفوا if both هاد البلايرز play optimally، دونك في كل تورن خداو ذا بيست اللي دي كان، شكون غيربح هاد الجيم. كما قلت كاينين تو سولوشنز، جراندي نمبرز اوف 1 حيت اتس اكشلي فورمولا، او لا لايك دايناميك بروغرامينغ. اوكي نيكست سلايد. اوكي سو بالنسبه للجراندي نمبرز عندنا خليل غيربح في جوج الحالات. اوف كورس الا كان كي كبر من ان، خليل ديما غيربح حيت هو اللي غيسبق وغياخذ كلشي. اوكي، او لا الا كان النمبر الموديلو ديال كي بلس 1 تخالف صفر. الا كان اصلا زعما في هذا البروبليم موست اوف ذا كيسز اي دون نو وي ديدنت تراي راندوم اوتبوت، حيت موست اوف ذا كيسز خليل ويل وين فهمتي. ان سبيشال كيسز عبد الغفور ويل وين. مثلا الا كان ليتس سي ان هو 4 و كي هو 3، ان اني كيس اللي خدا خليل وات ايفر، ما الا خدا واحد غيبقاو 3، الا خدا جوج غيبقاو جوج غياخذهم عبد الغفور، الا خدا 3 غياخذ عبد الغفور واحد. هي ويل وين in any case. This formula like would work. It is actually the same concept ديال minimum excluded. في كل اوكي اصلا in any case like you can represent it as max or minimum excluded. وفي كل number you can calculate it of course recursively. زعما the same the grandie like the grandie of any state, it represents like the possible winning states like at a given turn ولا at a given game state. There is a formula كما قلت زعما هاد الفورمولا, but you can also do it with minimum excludant. It will lead to the same way, or it's actually like a basic concept ديال game theory. Again, if someone says this is a standard problem, we had two expected solutions. You don't need to know Grandi numbers to solve it. And I think Khalil now will go through the same like the DP solution.
I think you should refresh, Mehdi.
I think you can close and refresh maybe.
Yes. Thank you, Ahmed. This one is for people probably more like me, who have no idea and don't really understand really well Grandi numbers and name game. It always skips my mind. So, yeah, as Ahmed stated, the idea behind it is just to offer two possibilities of solving the problem. And the DP solution is really just, in this use case, playing the game. Just write some kind of backtracking solution that actually plays the game. And we can quickly realize once we write it that it can be represented basically in using the remaining number of what is it, Ahmed? The stones, right?
Yeah, coins, let's say.
سلاحة شنو هي؟
Coins, no? Yeah, coins.
سلاحة شنو هي؟
قريب.
So coins, and basically depending on how many coins you have left and which player is playing, this defines for us the current state of the game. I know that technically, on a technical note, you don't really need to know which player is playing, right? Because when people play optimally, the way you implement this is that whenever I am in my current state with the remaining number of stones or coins, I will iterate over all the possibilities, which is I can take 1, 2, 3, 4, up to k. So this is the hidden factor times k that you see in the complexity. And whenever I do this, the only way I win is if the other player loses if he plays optimally, right? So if my function always tells me who wins when I play optimally, I just inverse it, right? And from all of these unique choices, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, up to k, I only need to win one to be considered a winner. Why? Because if I play optimally and I know that by choosing taking 2 coins from the initial state I win, that's the only thing I need to know. I don't need to win every scenario because I play optimally and the other player does too. This basically makes it possible to simulate in n times k to be in here a constant factor, and again, not really needed. So simple backtracking with memorization would work in this case.
Okay.
I can see a question here. There is a solution in O of n.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So Khalil and Abdul Jalil take 1 in each turn, while n, the last one who takes 1 will lose.
I didn't think of that. Wait.
I think maybe because it's not Abdul Jalil.
It's Abdul Ghafoor. But wait. Okay, in each. Okay, if n. Okay, we agree that if k bigger than n or equal to n, of course, Khalil will win. Okay, for the other case, you said we can, while n less than k, in each turn they take 1.
Actually,
But
if I might stop you, Ahmed, I'll tell you guys what I think. Because we checked me and Ahmed before the contest. With this type of problems where you have to use Grandi, for example, which is n modulo k plus 1, some people will achieve very similar results by not using Grandi numbers. So just you can have people just decreasing by k plus 1 sometimes and kind of mimicking n modulo k plus 1 to figure it out. So we've added extra test cases, basically just to not have outlier greedy solutions that just do n modulo 2, because these things can happen with problems like this. So I am actually not surprised that there are solutions we are not aware of. That might ultimately, if we really read into them and write them down, they might have like a worse complexity than Grandi, but ultimately are Grandi, if you see what I mean, right?
Yeah,
Like in some kind of simulation. So
Yeah.
not surprised, and kudos for you guys, because it's actually much trickier to do those solutions in real life than the ones we described.
Yeah, this is also what I agree with also with Isam. I think okay.
Yeah,
It would be, of course, it will be great to see like which solutions did you try and which solutions worked. That's also, it will be also great. For Isam, he said like I don't think that it will work. Yeah, it's not optimal to take one at each turn.
I think Yahya is making a good point with this type of problems. It's always about finding that one counter example, and sometimes it's very hard.
Yeah.
So in this case, he was able to give us, for example, n equal 10 and k equal 3, but you have to run through multiple, because most people that actually try these will actually run them by hand on multiple, and it seems like it works.
Yeah.
And
But-
also, yeah, sorry, Ahmed.
Yeah, no. Sorry. It was expected like to be the second easiest problem anyway, so
Third, maybe.
or third, yeah.
For the note, just here maybe for a bit of lore, why we decided to go with this. And I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but we had a much easier one before with Ahmed, and we wanted just to increase the difficulty. Right? We had an n modulo 4
Yeah.
problem, but we decided it to make your life a bit harder. So
Okay, I think for I mean I think yes, and we made like just keep bigger than n, just like for clarity, because for that you are sure that it's always the case.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's good. Like at least we can hear like different like solutions. Okay. Whatever I think, wanna be in winning position. Yeah, I think it's the same example as you, if you have 4 and 3. 4 and 3, whatever you like, whatever you do, it's a losing position.
actually,
Right?
sorry, Ahmed, I just want to use a comment here by Anwar, who pointed it to us. It's a good hint, I think, and a good thing for everyone. Anwar, he's saying, do you want to say it, Anwar, or should I read it? Go ahead. Okay. So Anwar is saying basically, whenever you have these game theory problems or type of problems, that if you, for example, cannot see the formula very quickly, actually write the DP solution or some kind of brute force solution to show you the winning state and the losing state, and this might help you actually come up with the formula. So maybe if like you could, in this problem technically, right, if like your machine can run all of the states, let's say in 10 seconds, you could technically do it and come up with n modulo k plus 1 on your own to have like a constant time solution. So that's actually a very good trick and a very good
Yeah.
idea.
Actually,
exactly what you should do. خصك تشد البروبلمز. خصك تشد البروبلم. You write the DP solution, right? You make sure it's correct, and you try to you spend like 30 minutes try to derive the formula and then submit the formula.
You know
Right?
what?
Instead of submission the DP solution.
or you can do another thing that happened to us in an ACPC, and it was an actual contest. Actually, it was the same thing. We had, I remember, 10 to the power 4, n is equal to, is less than 10 to the power 4. We ran. Okay, we submitted the solution. It was time limit. Okay, then we said, okay, let's print the solutions in an array, all of them. So what we did, we printed the whole like 10 to the power 4 in one file. It was luckily not a memory limit. Then we answered all the queries in O of 1. You can also do this on contests, and you can hack judges, and it's fair. Okay, we and by the way, for that one, we won the Maghreb prize by 1 minute. It took 19 minutes to generate the cases. and I think 1 minute to submit, and with that 1 minute we won. So it's also one way of doing things.
a lot of things بحال هادو like you'll see I see كل مرة كنمشي ل MNPC صراحة كنلقى a lot of great problem solvers. The only thing that's lacking for them like to move from solving 9 out of 12 to solving like 11 or like 12 out of 12 is just the experience. The experience هما هاد القوالب هادو. Which problems to go for, which problems you should skip حتى الآخر. How do you solve problems? How do you approach problems that you don't know how to approach? That you don't have an idea how to solve? هاد القوالب هادو هما اللي كيميك you that extra.
كيف تقول بأذر teams أو بحال كذا خالد.
تقيد other teams تصوبي واحد صعيب وتصيفط عيبط لك تصوب كيحسبهم هو السهل. There's a lot of tricks like this.
Actually في ذاك البروبلم الجادج جا سلم علينا. قلنا how this worked. I told him okay off one. How this worked? It worked.
عادي صيفط سولوشن شحال فيها فورم 4 السورس فيها 4 ميجا.
والله المهم ما كانش ميموري ليميت، كانوا دايرين يقدروا 1 جيج فهمتي ولا شي لعيبه. المهم خدم فهمتي داكشي اوف 1 صافي فهمتي حنا فرحانين كلشي ناشط. الجات جاتو في شكل جا سلم علينا صافي قلنا يو هاكت اس.
Don't worry by this time complexity ديال.
I don't think عندهم كان it was فهمتي في ديك الادج ديال 10 باور 8 وإلا زقلتيها بشي فاكتور صغير ولا شي حاجه كتجيك تايم ليميت. We know that this is the actual solution ولكن كانت كتزقل. ايوا المهم it work. Try it next time.
Okay. We spent quite a bit of time on this one. Let's see what's the next. The next is Mr. Azduz. Go ahead.
Okay. I think this is one of the easiest problems here and one of the most solved problems في الكونتست أصلا وحتى في الريميك. Problem is quite easy. عندك two 24-hour formats strings اللي نقولهم times. الأولى is sort of like a pattern يعني have missing digits اللي are denoted with question marks. And the second one is actual valid 24 hours time. What we want to do is replace the question marks with any digits we want in such a way we get the closest time in minutes to the second time that we can call the first one as the pattern and the second one as the given time. So we're going to call the closest one in minutes to the other one. Both strings are, as I say, 24-hour format. And one thing to note is that the الوقت قدر يكون in the previous ولا the next day. I don't care was previous day or the next day. meaning هو يكون 24-hour format. ومنين نحسب the absolute difference in minutes ما بين هاد string وهاد string يعني 0059 و 0001 و 2359 راه بيناتهم 2 minutes ماشي the other way around. So it doesn't matter واش راه في the next day ولا the previous day. What I care about is إلا كانوا جوج ديال values دي different تقدر تشوفهم مثلا وحده قبل منه بنص ساعه ولا الاخرى قبل زايده من وراء بنص ساعه. I want the one that is closer to midnight يعني the earliest إلا جيت كنحسب times من الأول من from 0 to 24 hours. Next slide maybe. Yeah, so واحد wrong solution اللي كان many people did during the contest which was surprising هو كانوا they just go there through the strings and they replace the digit اللي ناقص من الباترن the character اللي كان معاه في string الأخرى. كيقول باللي I will get the optimal solution. It's easy to implement. You can do it if you want to submit something fast or you will get a penalty. اصلا ديجا if you replace this you might get sometimes بحال عطيتك 19 هنايا and then the other one is 2 something تقدر دير لي 29 so it's not going to be like 24 hours format. It's not the actual answer anyways. And the other solution اللي هي of one and then I will explain why it's a big of one is to try all possibilities. Just go through all the times from 0 to 2359. If you want to be extra safe, you can even try till the next day or the previous day, it doesn't matter. If we convert all the values 2 minutes, يعني 0 0 0 0 تكون هي 0 23 59 تكون هي 13 14 39 تكون 1440 وحده. So you can try all of them. And I will just keep track of the both اللي كاينه قبل مني واللي كاينه من بعد مني باش نعرف زعما which one is the closest. And I will only try the ones اللي matches my given pattern. And I can do the pattern matching by just converting again from minutes to actual 24-hour strings. ونشوف واش it matches the pattern. هكذا I will make sure بلي I will keep I will have exactly the time that I need. Big O of 1 because I know I will be trying exactly 1440 value for each day's case. So ولا 2000 كاع 2800 so it doesn't matter. You can do some pruning if you want by just making sure إذا كانوا عندي 4 question marks I will just print the string as it is. ولا إلا عندي 3 that's I can do the first case. إلا عندي وحدة can just do one. If else I don't suggest to do all of that, just do implementation, then you're accepted easily. Can confusions in the contest allow whether the answer can be in the previous day or the next day? I thought that was a little bit obvious. There were like a lot of questions, and I had to do a little bit of adjustment so I can make sure that it's fair for everybody and it's clear. So that's it for me, I think. You have questions?
Okay.
Yeah, big O of 1 is not like literally one operation. Big O is like because I know the actual number of iterations.
Yeah. So that's why mostly the people are asking about O of 1. O of 1 is that number of operations as explained. All right. I guess this one was a lot of questions because it was easy enough. Moving on. Who's next? Suhail.
Yes. Yeah, so the problem F stonks. Actually, I think it was a medium easy problem. So when I wrote it, I wrote it about to be a medium easy problem. So the statement was that given a series of stock purchases queries, and those queries contain a given a stock name and a purchased price, where each query can either add a new stock purchase or request the name of the most frequently bought stock. So here you're expected to answer the most frequently bought stock. The constraint here, so to solve the problem, you first need to order the stocks in a certain way. And to put them in a sort of priority. So the stock that we can say is the highest yeah, so the stock with the highest purchase means that the stock with the highest amount BOF. Here what I mean by amount BOF is the number of times this stock was BOF. And if there is a tie, so we have two stocks that has the same amount BOF. Here we need to so those tied stocks, we need to get, or the one with the priority, the highest priority is the stock with the highest purchase prices sum. So here you need to sum all of the sum. All of the prices, so that's what's given on the queries, and you need to prioritize the one with the highest sum. And if there is a tie here, you should prioritize the stock with the lowest name alphabetically. Mehdi, you can please move to the other slide. Yeah, and also an important constraint here is that the problem, because it involves queries, so the order could change based on the type 1 queries. Why this constraint is important? Because you can't, because you don't, if you thought about this problem into, for example, putting all the stocks into an array, and then every time you sort this array, and this kind of solution will get you into TLE, time limit exceeds. So here you should consider another data structure which is efficient in this kind of operations. So here the solution is first to store the stock name and also the sum of purchases on a hash map here to ensure access on all of one, and then use a tree map as a container for the stock names and ensure they order based on a custom comparator, the one that had the thing that we talked about in the constraints. And the choice, like I said before, the choice of the data structure is necessary to ensure insertion and deletion of in O of log of n. And if you do that, so the overall time complexity will be of Q log n, Q the number of queries, and n the number of stocks in the problem. So about about the comments, I didn't read them all, but yeah. The first thing I want to say, the solution was wrong. So my solution was wrong. Yeah, I saw. I can't read them all. Yeah, but the first thing that I want to say that so my first one, my solution was wrong. There is an edge case where my solution is wrong, and I didn't see it when I was writing the problem. The second thing that I want to say is that during the contest, like I said before, I have seen many solutions, and also I tested manually many solutions, and the most of those solutions had a problem in the comparison part. So I can't say that all the solution that there was for sure one solution which was correct on the contest, because I didn't see it, but I didn't see all the solutions on the contest. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but by the way, yes, I checked like China some solutions. By the way, I want to say واحد اللعيبه اللي كيساووا many things, because like شحال واحد تقول لي زعما your solution is wrong, يقول لك لا. And to point exactly في البارت اللي كانت mostly people كيغلط فيها is they're using tuples with comparators into insertion for واحد tree set ولا tree map. Okay, when you want to remove واحد map and you give me another tuple, technically that element is not going to be removed unless equal is equal to top. فهمتي? So it's not gonna remove واحد element اللي ما كاينش. And if you give me like مثلا if I insert, let's say, x10 or x12 for example, انا كنهمني نقلب على x and I try to remove x10 instead of x12, it's not gonna remove it's not gonna remove this element. So this is like a really good practice to understand that like your actual data structures that you're using for your comparator and everything. So your programming language, and I've made these mistakes a long time ago Java, so I knew about that issue. That's why my solution was kind of like okay, but
yeah, there's something I want to add also. I saw a comment that says, I would love to know which test case was the one that destroyed all submissions. Yeah, so I think most of the submissions didn't fail on that use case or on that that test case that failed my solution. the solutions failed. So most of the solutions failed on the test cases that that tested simplest things on the solutions of the contestants.
نخرجوا عليك ميمز.
مرحبا
اللي قال لي انا هنا هما دول segment 3 portrait rejected 4 times.
You use the segment 3.
واي مودي
سيت ما تقلو ماب قال نجرب سيجمنت 3
صراحه wait I don't know زعما if he can explain how he used it it would be great. I wouldn't think of segment 3 actually.
let me check
I think it could work.
زعما غير دابا زعما I couldn't think of زعما how.
Yes.
دارك فايبز ياك
Yeah.
وجاب اكسبتد في الريميك جابها سيجمنت 3
Yeah.
اشرح لنا اخي دارك فايبز هاد السولوشن سيجمنت 3 I'm really curious دابا for what
But wait, we agree Dark Vibe trusted Suhail more than the C++ standard library.
هذوك الناس تخلص لهم
دابا لا everyone was فهمتي كان كيتسنى راه your solutions are wrong ياك صافي وسهيل solutions is right then everyone is wrong and سهيل is wrong which is wrong. It's a funny thing. We need a bit of it. I'm curious about والله the segment 3 زعما if you have time
I guess like he'll share the link to the past submission for Code Forces.
That would be great.
You can store. So people are still asking about this question, about this problem. I guess we can come back to these questions in bed, because some of them are not entirely questions; they are more of a discussion topic. I want to finish the editorial صراحة and then go to deeper discussions. Next.
I added that just use long.
As used to the stars is one of the hardest problems of the floor. You should use long, otherwise like you'll overflow. But other than that, the problem was self-explanatory. Did actually get work, but set as used to the stars. And if you use Python.
I think one team did not solve it. One team for one team use long or use Python.
Yeah, that one team is probably like it's probably a new team, and they didn't think about overflow. That was the cookie problem, and it was one of the problems. The Python people didn't care about this and didn't have to think about it, but it also like only fair since like they have to think about all the other things for the other problem. So I guess it's completely fair. This is like the most solved problem with a high success rate. So yeah, good ship myself that is just to the stars. Okay. Minesweeper Square by Hamza Mohsin. Hamza, are you here? Yes, you're here.
I'm here. Okay. Minesweeper دونك problem هو عندك واحد الماينسويبر بورد خاص عندها ان روز ان كولمز. البورد ريبريزونتي بواحد البليترز دونك كاين ارقام نمبرز دونك من 0 حتى 8 داك النمبرز كيريبريزونتيو شحال عندك من ماين حتى داك السيل ولا حتى داك التايل. دونك الا كان عندك واحد التايل فيه 3 يعني كاين 3 ديال الماينز حتى هذا التايل هذا. كاين داك علامه الاستفهام هذيك هي البلاير مازال ما عرفش شنو كاين في داك التايل وشنو كاين اخر هاد السيلز اي انون. دونك واحد الكونديشن اللي زايده في البروبلم هي داك سكوير اريا. دونك ملي كتبدا البروبلم تكون عندك واحد سكوير اريا هي اللي بوحدها اللي باين فيها الارقام كلهم. دونك من غير هاد السكوير اريا كلشي التايلز الاخرين ما معروفينش يعني البلاير ما كيعرفش داك التايلز الاخرين شنو فيهم. دونك كتبدا من داك السكوير اريا وخاصك البروبلم هو تعرف number of tiles اللي safe يقدر البلاير يمشي ويحط ويتستهم يفتحهم. دونك هذه هي statement. next slide please. اوكي دونك الى اعتبرنا باللي داك الجرين سكوير هي الاريا ريفيلد اريا، دونك الاريا اللي فيها كلشي باين، انت عارف شنو الارقام اللي كاين تما. حنايا السولوشن ديالك ما خصهاش we only need to care about the tiles اللي ما بين البلو اريا والبلو سكوير والجرين سكوير. دونك غا tiles اللي adjacent للجرين سكوير. علاش؟ حيت كاع البورds ديما تقدر تلقى واحد داك التايلز اللي برا داك البلو سكوير يقدروا ديما يكونوا تحتهم ماينز. مثلا نقدروا نشدوا اي فاليد بورد نعمروا غير داك البلو سكوير نعمروها، وساعات التايلز الاخرين نقدروا ديما نحطوا تما واحد الماين وما يكون حتى شي مشكل. دونك غادي تموديفي البورد ديالك. دونك ديما داك الماينز التايلز اللي مور داك البلو سكوير ديما ماشي سيف. دونك حنا بغينا نقلبوا غير في داك البلو سكوير. دونك البورد عندنا الكونسترينت ديال البورد هي 5 ديال الروز 5 ديال الكولومز الا بقيت عاقل. دونك حنا بغينا غنشوفوا هذاك البلو سكوير. تو فايند سيف تايلز شنو غنديروا؟ غنديروا بروت فورس، غنشوفوا كاع فاليد بوردز، غنديروا واحد ريكورسيف سولوشن ولا سولوشن اللي بغيتو ديروها اللي غتلقى لك غتليستي لك كاع الفاليد بوردز، وغادي تشوف لك في كل تايل غتشوف واش داك التايل كاين شي فاليد بورد اللي فيه داك التايل فيه ماين. الا لقيتي فاليد بورد واحد اللي داك التايل فيه ماين راه داك التايل ماشي سيف. دونك انا السولوشن ديالي شنو درت؟ ديت داك السكوير داك 5 بلس 5 بلس 5 بلس 5 يعني مور بلس سكوير. دونك كتعطيك واحد 20 تايل اللي خصني نتشيكيهم، خصني ندير عليهم واحد اللوب وخصني نتشيكيهم بواحد. كنليستي كاع سولوشنز. الا كانت واحد من السولوشنز باش تليستي كاع السولوشنز غديرها ريكورسيف، واحد ريكورسيف سولوشن داكشي درت انا. دونك كتخرج لك 2 to the power of 20 عندك 20. كاين ايدج كيسز مثلا باش ما بغيتيش مثلا تصور كون كانت جرين سكوير هي البورد كامله. دونك باش ما تديش داك الكومبلكسيتي، ما تديش تكبر الكومبلكسيتي، ما تديش فوق 2 to the power 20. كتشوف هذاك هاد الكيس هادو ما كتكونسيديرهمش كاع، كتسكيبيهم ديريكت حيت التايلز اللي برا البورد ما كيتحسبوش. فوالا دونك كدير ريكورسيف سولوشن كتليستي كاع الاخر. دونك فوالا كنظن هذه هي السولوشن. verify that child save by checking is empty. دونك هذه هي السولوشن ريكورسيف. المشكل اللي كاين هو السولوشن شويه فيها الايدج كيسز، فيها بزاف ديال خاصك تكتب الكود غياخذ لك الوقت. ولكن الا ستراكشريت الكود ديالك مزيان راه غادي تجيب اكسبت.
Okay, so it's only a matter of coding ياك.
كودين and time.
تكتب الكود صحيح وغيدوز.
انت خاصك تغير
نسمع زعما بلا ما نخسروا جوج ديال السلايدز علاش كنا
Basically كتب الكود صحيح.
نكتبوا فيها جوج ديال الكلمات. كتب الكود صحيح وراه غيدوز.
راه الميمز وحق الله راه الميمز.
والله ميمز بزاف. There is a remark هنا. I guess it's 2 to the 16. قلت انت 2 to the 20.
علاش 260
كتب لك موراها في كومونتير 5 زائد 5 زائد 3 زائد 3.
5 زائد علاش 3 زائد 3؟ حيت علاش دابا الماكسيموم الكومبلكسيتي اللي تقدر تجيب هي ملي كتكون عندك سكوير في الوسط. مثلا عندنا هنايا البورد ديال 5 5 تصور كان داك الجرين سكوير في الوسط يعني السايز ديالها 3 فوق 3 تما غادي تحتاج دير ريكورشن على داك كاع التايلز اللي كاينين اللي دايرين بها يعني 5 في 5 5 ماشي ضروري يا بصح عنده الحق. دونك ماشي 5 انا ماشي 5 دونك كاين 5 زائد 5 زائد 3 زائد 3 هي عنده الحق.
Okay, so Mahmoud, thank you for the clarification. Should fix ما كايناش في slides, so there's nothing to fix. Okay, people are explaining what you missed, but the 2 to the 20 they're clarifying. There's another question. Can the revealed cells also contains mines, or they are safe? Read the problem
Can reveal cells also contain mine or they can store safe. هي دونك في هذا الكار ما درتش كاع عليه ما ذكرتهاش كاع في ستيتمنت و في الجينيريتور ديالنا اللي كتبنا ما كيكونش فيهم ماينز ولكن حتى يكون كان فيهم ماينز ما كانش غادي ياثر على السوليوشن دونك السوليوشن ديال جادج بلايزا دونك ما كاين حتى شي مشكل في هذه الناحيه.
سوري الدراري ولكن هذا بروبلم اللي فيه السوليوشن that judge actually correct. ريش بتاع غلط.
I tried to even get it to work with a greedy solution, but Hamza had like very good actual test cases and actual good solutions.
حمزة تبارك الله عليه ما تخافش عليه. All right. I guess that's about it for the questions there. Let's see the next one.
راه كاين واحد الميم تما زوينه صاحبي طلع لينا الميمز.
What meme؟
واحد الميم
هذا؟
كنتي في الكومنت. لا كاين واحد اخر ديال عصام بغيت قال لي ما علينا حتى في ويندوز اكس بي. صراحه راه حتى واحد ما علّى في ويندوز اكس بي لا زعما انا لعبتها حتى عييت ولكن ديما
انا صراحه عمر ديك اللعبه ما بانت لي اتراكتيف كيف عمر حليت.
واش اخباركم باللي ماين سويبر كاينه كومبيتيتيف كوميونيتي ديالها؟ يا
بحال ديال روبيكس كيوب وداك اللعيبات بحال
عندهم
بين بول تا
كاين واحد الكوميونيتي ديالهم واخا صغيره ولكن المهم كاينين
صغيره بهم شي 6
حمزه واحد الخمسه اخرين
عندهم الكيس اوكي
حتى انا عاد شفت هادشي كي داير.
ولا شي اكسبت دابا راه تقدر تصايب بوت باش تبقى تصولف
بلاتي هذا نيتزا هايلايت قلت لكم كوميونيتي عندكم بيسيات 256
لا سؤال
ربي. اوكي بروبلم اي تشوز gboard. هذا البروبلم هذا صراحه فيه واسبيري من واحد اللعيبه سميتها جالستون بورد وهي كيكون عندك واحد اللعيبه مربعه بحال هكا تكون فيها like a bunch of pegs كتلح فيها كواري وكيبان لك تستفوا in a very Gaussian distribution every time واخا كتلحوا الكواري randomly like they show like in a very Gaussian weirdly هكاك. I don't know the mathematical implications there and I don't really care and it's not necessary باش تsolve the problem. The problem is actually much easier than this. عندك دوك البيجز ولكن هذه المره عندك بيجز كل واحد فيهم عنده an internal state وذاك الانترنال ستيت وكل بيج related ولا عنده two children واحد to the left واحد to the right. دوك children يقدروا يكونوا سواء channels other pegs او لا كاينين channels كيلوحوا نيشان داك البيج الارض. So since this is driven by gravity كتلوح كرة الفوق big number 1 كيبقى هابط حتى كيطيح في الارض في الاخر. اوكي سو حنا كنقولوا لك باللي غنعطيوك دي initial internal state وغنقولوا لك غيطيحوا فيه غنلوحوا ما نعرف واحد الان عدد ديال الكواري. هاد الكواري هادو في الاخر فاش مور ما غيطيحوا كاملين وغاد السيستم هذا غيحبس شنو هي the result state after ما كيدوزو الكواري كاملين. The state itself can be كاينين two internal states كيفليبيو مع بعضياتهم. So if the internal state تقدر تكون R ولا L إلا كانت الانترنال state هي R أي كرة دخلات لذاك البورد غتمشي to the right child ولا كانت internal state هي L كل كرة دخلات غتمشي to the left child and then the internal state after الكرة ما كتدخل وكتخرج it switches to the opposite. إذا كانت R ترجع L إذا كانت L ترجع R. Right? So let's see an example for this. So إذا شفنا هذا الإكزامبل هذا أنت هذا هو البورد في T0 كندير بحال هكا عندنا 3 pegs. هذا عنده left و right child ديالو هنا. هذا عنده left child ديالو ولا right child ديالو هنا هو هذا left child ديالو هو هذا. هذا عنده left و right child ديالو هما الارض. So if you throw a ball هنا هذا الانيشال ستيت ديالو هو r. So initially له حل to the right child وغيفليبي the internal state ديالو to L. And then هادشي في تي واحد. في تي جوج غتدخل هاد الكره هذه الار هنا كانت L so غتلوح حال to the left child and then غتفليبي الانترنال state and then من بعد غطيح في الارض. So after ما حنا كره واحده state moves from RRL to LRR, if that makes sense. Okay. So the question, I guess, like the problem is trying to see is that نعطيك the initial state into هذا البورد هذا and then we'll give you like a bunch of balls. The amount of balls is like 10 to the 9. And we're going to tell you after all the balls drop to the ground شحال شنو هي الانترنال state ديال البورد at the end. Right. So we need to ensure things to keep in mind here. Now there is only one entry point to هذا البورد. ما كاينش multiple entry points. All the balls غيدخلوا through peg number 1. So some questions that we might need to ask to help guide observations. So what happens to the state of each peg when an even number of balls go through it? شو رجعنا لذاك الاكزامبل اللي كان قبل. الا كان عندي R هنا لحت الكره الاولى المره الاولى هنا independently of all the other balls. إلا لحت الكره الاولى من R ولات L, right? إلا عاودت لحت كره عاوتاني في هذا after one ball does ديجا you can obviously see اللي غترجع عاوتاني R, right? So إلا لحنا كره واحده the state غتفليبا. إلا لحنا an even number of balls like the state would still be the same as the initial state. So this is observation 1, right? So it doesn't matter شحال غنلوحوا ديال الكواري. What matters هي في كل peg شحال غيدوزوا عليه ديال الكواري. Is it odd ولا an even number? If it's odd غنفليبي state ديالو غتفليبا and if it's even state ديالو غتبقى كما هي. So what we care about دابا باش نسولفيو هذا البروبليم خصنا نعرفوا غير نجاوبوا على الكويشن اللي هو شحال من كره غتدخل لكل peg. So باش نعرفوا كي نديروا غنحاولوا نبريديكتيو الباث نتاع البولز ثرو داك الجي بورد. So since نقدروا نقولوا باللي الكواري نقدروا نتخيلوهم باللي كيمشيو and it doesn't matter الاوردر اللي غيدخلوا به الواحد. Like in this case like الا واخا يكونوا هنا two entries like واخا نلوحوا مثلا 20,000 كره هنايا وشي كيمشي شي كيمشي شي كيمشي شي كيجي at the end of the day نقدروا نقولوا اوكي ما كيهمناش حنا الاوردر اللي كيجيو به لهنايا. At the end of the day شحال ما دخلت من كره هنايا only the number that matters ماشي الاوردر باش دخلوا. So what we need to make, what we need to count هي what we need to think about هي is there a particular order اللي نقدروا نشوفوا به البولز اللي they go through the system so that whenever we process each peg نكونوا عارفين ديجا the number of total number of balls اللي will go through it. And surprise, we can. So the solution was be like, okay, count the number of entering balls باش نديسايديو. And this is like n is the number of the entering balls. We'll know that, well, at each peg, إلا كان n على جوج غيمشي to the left و n على جوج غيمشي to the right, and then على حسب البيت نتاع الباريتي either غيمشي to the left or to the right. So كلها like given the total at the entrance نقدروا نعرفوا شحال كاين at the exit وشحال من كره غتمشي to the left وشحال من كره غتمشي to the right. Like again if we go back here إلا لحت 10 ديال الكواري هنا I'm guaranteed ان 10 غيمشيو to the right 5 غيمشيو to the right و5 غيمشيو to the left. إلا لحت 11 الكره I'm guaranteed باللي 6 غيمشيو to the right and then 5 will go to the left. Right? So what we need to do is like to process the nodes in topological order. So to guarantee باللي we don't process something فاش نكون عند واحد node X كما بغى يكون to process it properly خصنا نشوريو باللي البولز اللي غيكونوا ثرو هذا ديجا بوشيناهم لهادو اللي تحت منه. So لكن هذا let's imagine باللي هذا راه ديجا لتحت. We get some number of balls into it وعنده multiple entries بزاف نتاع هو left child نتاع بزاف نتاع الحوايج ولا right child نتاع بزاف نتاع other nodes. قبل ما نبروسيسيو هادو اللي تحت منه we need to ensure باللي صافي كاع داكشي اللي غيهبط فيه هبط and then it pushes either to the left ولا to the right على حسب الرولز اللي قلنا من قبل, and then we can go on and process the other ones. And this like looks exactly like topological ordering of this directed graph. And hence in gravity we guarantee there is no cycles. You're only guaranteed to always go down. Okay. So if you get the topological order وتابلاي هذه الرولز هذو اللي قلنا عليهم ديال ان على جوج will go to the left and على جوج will go to the right, and depending on parity you might add one here to the left or to the right, and then you process in topological order. At the end of the day غتعرف باللي شنو هي the final state. So each time you will process balls, flip the state ولا keep the state and then do the other one حتى تساليهم كاملين. So the time complexity of this will be linear and the amount of pegs. So the number of balls don't matter. سواء عطيتك واحد سواء عطيتك 10 to the 9, at the end of the day what matters هو ذاك البي ذاك the amount of pegs اللي عندك حيت هو اللي خصك تبروسيسي واحد بواحد.
واحد اللعبه مهدي واش we had exactly one single entry ياك هو
Yes.
and كانت هي الروت ديال الداغر right?
Yes. So since I mean it wouldn't make sense to make the root of the DAG something else.
Well, and I thought that it would have been like it would have made the problem
فاش يكون البروبليم ديالك دير فيه اللي بغيتي.
yeah because حتى إذا درتي topological source from the root the way you implement topological source تقدر تجيب wrong answers ولا maybe
ولكن انا ظريف انت ما مزيانش انا بغيت الناس يجيبوا accepted.
By the way, if I can plug in and need, I actually did not solve it using topological order.
شتي دابا.
But here is where it's different. But my idea has a worse time complexity.
Okay.
So it's basically P, which P is the number of pegs, right?
Yeah.
Log n.
Log n.
Yes.
Okay.
Because what I do is I basically just, let's assume I have a function, right? F, I give it the node and the number of balls, right? Each time, the state, by the way, of the board is global. So I update it as I go along. So I just say, okay, I have n. I know that on the right will go n over n divided by 2, and the left n divided by 2. And the parity goes to the current state that we have. So if it's left, the +1 will go this way or the other way. So each time I divide my n by 2. So it even supports self loops because each time it will be divided by 2 as long as not both of them are self loops.
Okay. So simulity.
Yeah,
so
it's a simulation.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So log doesn't matter here. Okay. Because it's guaranteed to have.
Yes,
that's cute. That's actually pretty good.
But it's worse.
That's smart. I didn't think about it. at all. Okay, but like صراحة the main goal ديالي في هذا البروبلم هذا was like to observe the parity pattern. إذا observed parity pattern I'm fine. If you saw أو خد simulate it's fine. غير ما تسيميليش واحد تصيفط كرة بكرة. Good. This wasn't meant to be a hard problem to begin with. Can you allow? Okay, so
maybe if you solve the problem, you can see submissions that others. Otherwise, we can ask Hamza probably if he can do this. Enable, and now if you get accepted the problem, you can see other solutions.
I will check.
Yes, thanks.
I see a okay. A solution pass which shouldn't use topological order. إلا كنتي درتي هادشي اللي دار خليل it'll pass. إلا كنتي درتي شي حاجة أخرى I'm wondering شنو هي. Because you can إلا كنتي كتسيميلي كرة بكرة راه ما غدوش تزوز من n+1 دير topological order. It doesn't matter. If you do use the parity trick, then I guess it can pass.
كاين حتى واحد other I think level is that because it's parity and I know that test cases aren't weak. So because I actually checked the test cases, so I know they're randomly generated and they're huge. But because it's parity, right? You might end up maybe, and this is a big maybe, right? It's not necessary. in solutions that will get the right parity even without testing all of the maybe the recoming back from different nodes, just because some stuff might not impact the parity of a state or.
Okay.
By the way, I can make even a clear solution, maybe depending on the constraints, fail, because if you simulate, imagine there is like a line and it doesn't, maybe left right. Okay, anyways, I can always like to overflow if I give you like a lot of big number of balls وتبقى تزوزهم من واحد البول, at some point you will keep the number of balls اللي دازوا ليها قبل ما دير لها process. Maybe it can overflow,
But I don't.
maybe I don't know. It's an idea.
How will it overflow?
إلى عندك a line, عندك a big number here, you will 10 to the power of 18, for example. I will just like have 10 to the power of 18.
No, to make it overflow, n is 10 to the 9. To make it overflow, خص يكون 10 to the 9 nodes.
No.
Yeah, because كاين عندنا one single number على الانترنس anyway, so كان عندنا like the total number of balls كان شوية. Never mind. I was thinking about something else. So yeah.
No, I get your idea, but like إذا كان مثلا n هو 10 to the 18 and then
multiple entrances.
كو كان n could reach 10 to the 18, you can make it overflow.
Yes, you can, because في الآخر غادي تبقى
you cannot, because أنا نقول لك علاش you can make it overflow, because the number is static أصلا.
Yes, exactly. أنا قلت زعما ماشي static, but if you had multiple entrances, يعني like ماشي كلشي غيدوز من peg 1. You can tell me which peg غادي يدوز ليها exactly. Like بحال كتقول multiple sinks, multiple sources, one single sink, you can make it overflow.
ولكن total number of balls is 10 to the 18. You can't pass more than 10 to the 18.
كون كان initial total number of balls غادي يقدر يكون overflow way, then that's another story. But it's not the case for the problem. That's all my mistake.
Okay. Anyways, this wasn't supposed to be a hard problem, so it's not. There are some solutions that we didn't anticipate. And I guess like some other people solved it in another way. So yeah. Moving on. Jesus. I can admit it.
Oh yeah, I will try to explain this as much as I can. So for this problem, we have let's make واحد لعيبة clear في الأول. We have two strings x and y, and we will have واحد string z that we call smooth shuffle dance. But to define what is a smooth shuffle dance and define علاش هي shuffle dance. A shuffle dance اللي هي نقدر نشد الموفز ديال x and y وناخذهم in order بغيت, يعني ناخذ one move from x, then one move from y, one move from y, one x, and so on. As long as I keep them in the same order, and I end up واحد smooth واحد dance اللي ديال patterns. الشافل دانس هي اللي درت لها اللعيبه هذه ووصلت لهاد الدانس هذه في الاخر, يعني ماشي بديت I don't know الorder doesn't matter, like الorder ماشي هو هذاك, then it's not a shuffle dance in the first place. Yes. شنو هي a smooth shuffle dance? It's a shuffle dance, ولكن I can't إلا جيت واحد الوقيته ولقيت باللي في الشافل دانس الاخرانيه ديالي عندي واحد 3 ديال الموفز اللي ما it doesn't matter شكون داروا, ولكن بحال كتقول زعما it's exactly the same moves اللي كان غير the other part, like one of the partners. Meaning, for example, like the هاد shuffle dance هذه اللي درت هنا A B I C G D and so on, you will see it's a shuffle dance first, يعني الorder ديال ديال اللي خديت فيه doesn't matter. By the way, نقدر ناخذ من y ناخذ من x, it doesn't matter شكون غيبدا. and ما كاينش شي 3 الكاركترز اللي كاينين في x متابعين بحال هكا, ما كاينينش واحد 3 الكاركترز متابعين في x. So it's a shuffle dance, ولكن ما عنديش 3 ديال الموفز from the same partner. By the way, a move A واخا يكون دار هاد other partner الا كانت كتشبه لوحده من الموفز, بحال مثلا suppose بلي دار هذا A B C وانا عندي A B C, that's also considered to be invalid because هذاك ABC ملي غنجي ندير انا ABC راه غتولي كتشبه لي ولا كتشبه لي. So this is exactly what it means. Maybe هذه هي اللي كانت confusion على how many people didn't understand. By the way, you may notice بلي راه الconstraint هما كانوا x at least 3, y is at least 3 because when you get to less than 3 كتولي شويه قضيه معكشه to how to anticipate شنو غادي يكون solution. So I wanted to make it clear. So example ديال واحد اللعيبه اللي very obvious بلي ما عمرها غادي تكون في واحد smooth shuffle dance هي ملي كيكون عندك x all x's and y's like everything is the same. So كيف ما درت هنايا غنوصل لواحد الوقيته اللي غناخذ 3 x's كيف ما درت ليها. So there is no smooth shuffle dance. So the idea هي غنعطيك واحد shuffle dance الا كانت there is a way I can make the moves like I can pick the moves باش ندير هذيك باش نيرونجي الموفز الاوردر ديالهم باش نوصل لواحد smooth shuffle dance, then the answer is yes. Otherwise, the answer is no. Okay. Next slide, ready? So, as I said, what is the task? So I need to find if there is any way you can form headache smooth shuffle dance without picking 3 consecutive moves from the same person. By picking 3 consecutive moves, واخا نبيكي moves from the other partner الا كانت كتساوي شي move من عندي انايا I can't pick it. This is like exactly what is described in the context. ما يكونش بحالو and I think the problem like the samples كانوا very clear about this. و I think كانت واحد النوت لتحت about this حتى هي خالي ياك right. So so هذه هي النوت اللي زدت هنايا. Like as I said, however, note that we need to make sure that a move A from partner X is the same as move A from partner Y. يعني إلا كانت A هنا و A هنايا it's the same move, so I can't pick it unless like I pick it هنايا. I don't know. إلا كانت A X Y A B C هذاك A is the same. B C are different. X Y are different. Next slide, Mehdi.
If I can just add one thing, and as is one way that made it easy for me to understand is that if we construct the string Z, right, in all the possible ways, all the possibilities of constructing the string Z, right, have to be smooth shuffle dances. There should not be one case of because if you can construct Z in a way that's not a smooth shuffle dance.
No, I think it's the opposite. If you can find one way, that you can construct Z in such a way that it's a smooth shuffle dance, then it's a yes. And that's I've checked like your solution.
Let's take the solution of x's, x 3 times for both.
There is no way. But if you find one, then the answer will be yes.
One could argue I take x from the first, x from the second, x from the first.
Yes, exactly.
So that's why that was the easiest way for me to think about it.
Yeah. So as I said, like if you can find واحد smooth shuffle, واحد way of arranging هذا to take in هذا because you can like so the why علاش greedy doesn't work here is because like you can't make local optimal choices. ما نقولش انا غناخذ جوج x جوج y. You can't make هذا التشويس هذا من بعد. So it doesn't guarantee you بلي توصل optimal solution, but you get a suboptimal solution. The idea is to do, I don't know, just a recursion to try. If I assume my function f is fij, that returns for me true. إلا كنت غنقدر construct a smooth shuffle dance بstring z يعني I just like نحيد I characters and j characters يعني I plus j يعني ناخذ I plus j maybe plus 1 اللي بقاو ليا وناخذ x اللي بقات ليا يعني suffix بعباره اخرى ديال x suffix ديال y والسافيكس ديال اللي بقى ليا من زي then كنشوف واش الكورنت كاركتر اللي انايا فيه دابا يعني زي I plus j خصني نكونسيدري بلي راه خديت I from x and j from y الا كان تيساوي ديك correct character يعني I can pick it I can make هذا الموف هذا I will get back to that comment وجوج previous moves ياك matches the move from x then I can't pick هذا الموف هذا from x but if it's not the case then I can pick x still and the same thing for y if I can do هذه اللعيبه هذه check I can see that okay can I pick x can I pick y if I can pick x then I'll answer there is going to be either picking x or picking y if one of them works then the answer is going to be true actually if I just find one way of doing of finding had and all the thing, like next slide maybe Mehdi. So all the thing that you need to do here, if you find the recursion this way and you implement it correctly, just add memoization easily. بلا ما دير زعما any sort of other DP, and you can do top down, bottom up, liberating. My solution, I think Khalid's solution as well was top down, maybe. Yeah, it was recursion with memoization.
Yeah.
And so we use two DPs, one to check for the three characters from the same string, and the other one to check if it's possible to do Z using X and Y with maximum 2 consecutive characters, TLE. I don't know, maybe you have some sort of 10,000 square. That's actually the intended solution in S square DP.
10 سكوير 10 8 يقدر الا كان عنده غير شي فاكتور.
Yeah. By the way, the 10 factor is probably where you have the problem. It's literally n square with the like يكون عنده 3 to 4 factor maybe. By the way, because كاينين multiple test cases, I think 10 test cases. إلا كانت هذيك 10 times 10 to the power of 3 square. إلا كانت هذيك 10 اللي عندك في الأول is على test cases. Yes. I don't know, maybe you have something missing زعما على recursion ديالك. But otherwise, as it is, ما غاديش passive like maybe for all test cases. Because I think I'm pretty sure that I have test cases that are big. I know that the problem is a little bit hard to grasp and to see maybe, but I had like trouble as well to فاش كنت كنحاول visualize DP ديالك. I had like some issues to make sure بلي ما غاديش ندير داك check. If people are still like them, didn't get it, I will share with them the solution at some point just to see if someone is interested. But this is the idea, at least, leaders. If nobody has any more questions. Smooth criminal. Yeah. It was a smooth criminal.
يلا شفت الريميك again.
And by the way, I have a Java solution without fast IO, and Khalil has and with recursion, by the way, Khalil has a C++ solution without fast IO, I think. So we thought that it's very fair to have 1 second. Besides that, the machines, the judges were way faster, by the way, during the contest than PC Square, than where we tested originally the problems. So. Maybe that's it. إذا شي واحد عنده some questions, I will answer them as we go. We can get to the next question, next problem. Maybe it's the last one. Okay.
اش من the last عندي مازال
مازال الخير
Maze analysis. I think it's the third most solved problem in the contest. So I think it's the third easiest problem. So the problem statement is as following. There are participants navigating through a maze, and their path are recorded as sequences of L and R left and right turns. So given n participants and q queries, each query being a specific sequence of terms, the task here is to find out for each query how many participant paths exactly match the queried sequence. By exactly match, I mean exactly match the prefix, the prefix of the sum, the prefix of the paths of the participants. The solution here is, or the optimal solution for this problem here involves using a trie. Data structure is called trie. I think you can look it up on the internet if you don't know it. And here on the trie star, where each node represents a character from the set of input. So because here we have only two ways to navigate into the maze, so either left or right. So the input strings would be also L and R. Each path from the root to the and of course the root of the trie would be so the beginning of the path, and so in each leaf it means a certain direction where the participant has gone. Mehdi, can you move to the second slide, please? Yeah, so using the try, so for each participant path, you need to insert the sequence into the try starting from the root. And you need, at the end of, you need to increment a counter on a node level that represent the end of participant path to indicate whether the completion of a path has been made. And for the queries, you need to traverse the try according to the sequence of terms in the query. And if the sequence is present in the try, and you arrive at the end of the queried path, you need to return the number of times the path has been used by the other participants. And finally, the overall complexity is of n times m plus q times k. So n is the number of the participants, m is the size of the maximal path, and yeah, plus q is the number of queries, and k the size of the queried path. Yeah, so that is for this problem. If you don't have any other question. Yeah.
انا ما بغاش كيتهموك بالاجرام وانت كتحط بروبليمات مزيانه. ما متفاهمينك يا خاي سهيل، ما عرفتش علاش.
ماشي مشكل، احنا ظريفين.
Okay, thank you Suhail. Let's see what's the next. I don't see any questions. إلا بانوا gotta be the misery. Okay. Finally Pellmell. سير أحمد، يلا سير.
آخر بروبلم في هذا الكونتيست تسولفا مرة واحدة في وسط الكونتيست، وتسولفا 3 المرات في الريميك. هذا البروبلم it's actually the core idea ديالو is geometry, but like the technique itself is not used as much في geometry. It's used more في DP problems. المهم الايديا هي عندنا واحد set of queries Q queries وعندنا تو تايبس ديال الكويريز. عندنا واحد الكويري باش تادي واحد اللاين في الفورم اكس بلس بي، وعندنا واحد الادر كويري اللي كتعطينا البوزيشن ديال واحد البيرسون اللي هو مجيد في الاكس اكسس. و the whole idea actually هي نشوفوا الانترسكشن ما بين اكس ايكوال مثلا ام اكس اللي هي ديك البوزيشن ديال مجيد مع any of the lines اللي شفناهم قبل، ونشوفوا الماكسيموم ديستانس اللي كتعطينا في دوك اللي كتعطيونا في دوك اللاينز. هذا المهم هادشي this is what we wanted to do for each query. we calculate the maximum distance ما بين ديك x وكل لاين من هذوك اللي درنا في السيت. مهدي next slide. Okay, so again the naive solution for this problem is trivial or it's quite intuitive. هي كل مره المهم غنكيبيو لاينز في واحد السيت، وكل مره عندنا واحد البوزيشن غنتشيكيو كاع اللاينز اللي عندنا وغنسيليكتيو الماكسيموم، غنكيبيو الماكسيموم وغن اوتبوتيو الماكسيموم. the solution اللي of course in squared وغتعطينا time limit, so it's not the intended solution. For the intended solution I know like before ملي كنت غنقاد هاد البروبلم I know there are two solutions. حيت اصلا the what is زعما the key problem is actually dynamically updating a convex hull ولا dynamically updating let's say a convex hull ولا set of linear functions cut updateهم, which means you might remove some of them, you might add some of them. بالنسبه لهاد الفيرجن ديال هاد البروبلم ما زادش الكونسترين ديال تريموفي لاين. مثلا كتعطى كويري باش تريموفي لاين but this is in هاد الكلاس ديال البروبلمز فيهم كاع هاد الاوبريشنز. اوكي فيهم الاوبريشن باش تموديفاي فيهم الاوبريشن باش تريموفي، فيهم الاوبريشن باش تادي. فور ذيس سبيسيفيك بروبلم بالنسبه لهذا الكونتست وي كيبت اونلي ادين لاينز. اوكي I know for this specific problem باش تادي lines dynamically هذا هو الفرق ما بين normal convex hull في geometry و convex hull في this context. حيت في هذا الكونتست it can be solved with two techniques. Convex hull trick, it's CHT or it's actually a DP optimization او لا Lich-Choudhury's. I was happy في first contest حيت ما تسولفاتش بالسولوشن اللي درت انا. The one I implemented هي ديال convex hull trick. One team or the only team that solved it during the contest implemented Lich-Choudhury's because for some reason convex hull trick did not work for them. المهم they managed to solve it with Lich-Choudhury's. The core idea is عندنا for this kind of problems ويقدر تلقاهم مثلا في other contests either you keep the minimum or minimum or maximum it's the same thing. غير دوك الايديا هي تكيبي lines in a sorted set based on their slope. اوكي وفي كل كويري باش تادي you check واش ديك اللاين غادي تكونتريبيوتي للكونفكس الابر كونفكس ولا لا. for this case عندنا الماكسيموم داكشي علاش we keep the upper convex وإلا عندنا المينيموم we keep the lower convex. so like من هاد if هاد اللاين كتكونتريبيوتي للابر كونفكس we keep it و كان ريموفيو اي لاين اللي ما كتكونتريبيوتيش. and then whenever we have a new point x ولا اللي بغينا نكويريو we can use binary search like to find like the actual distance حيت اصلا عندنا lines sorted by their slope. so the overall like intended solution is n log n. yeah you can again like the main things اللي عندنا sorting عندنا maintenance ديال convex like when we add lines and of course like query processing when in login. so actually this is the idea. I think it was solved as I said like 4 times, so I think that's quite a good number. It was expected to be like a hard problem. The main takeaway that I can say هو the same technique even if it looks a geometry thing it is used as an ADP optimization in the like original version of the problem. It's not used in raw problems like this, but of course if whenever you have a problem in DP where you have a cost for instance that can be represented as a linear function you can do it for sure. yeah so if there are any questions I would be happy to answer. If not yeah we can move on. yeah I think Mehdi thank you for sharing the link. yeah ولا Khalid. yeah Khalid thank you. yeah this is actually the convex hull trick and if you see this is not E50 this is not E50 50 watts. المهم راه you can also check I think في CP algorithms كاين اللي Lich-Choudhury's because I checked before.
It's actually on the same page. That's
on
why
the same page, right?
so they discuss
exactly. yeah correct my friend. yeah اللينك اللي تشير في الشات راه فيه Lich-Choudhury's as well. or it can be used to solve this problem as well. I think this is the homework for the reader. it's left to the reader باش implement Lich-Choudhury's for this problem.
ايوا ضربنا الدوره على كل شيء. تبارك الله عليكم الاخوان. 31 سلايدز في ساعتين.
واو
دابا
نرجعوا للدراما.
واحد عاود سول على الدراما which means it's good. It's all in good fun.
I don't know زعما from a point I would love of course to get also your opinion. Standard problems I don't think كاينين بزاف ديال الحوايج اللي تعلمتهم personally from the contest I didn't know them before. So I don't know if this is I don't know if this could be considered standard. That could be, I think, quite weird for me.
قال لك يا سيدي اعطيونا شحال الريتين ديال البروبلمز الا كانوا في كود فورس.
اوكي
من 800 ل 2000 ولا 1900.
I think
I don't know.
yeah, stylistically it's hard. I just want to point out, I know if you want to do a map into code forces, it's always very tricky. It's, the style of the problem is different. And in a lot of these cases, knowledge will give you either a boost or لا غادي يهرسك. I think بحال دابا when you think about here is what I think, for example, about Mjid and Mjid Land. I think if you don't have the knowledge, you're not necessarily gonna think about it. But even if you do have the knowledge, you might not think about it. Like it might not cross your mind. I think it's obvious, but not too obvious in the sense that here is what you should be doing. So you should at least be familiar in the idea in the sense that you understand abstractly what it does. And you probably would not see these types of problem in code forces contests. I feel like, but maybe that's just me. I feel like they hide them way more behind a bunch of observations. If you see them, you're gonna see them at which level? At like D or E level of div 2, not div 1. Those I don't even understand how you solve them. Yeah, so like div 2, D or E, you need like maybe 15 minutes of observations, and then you can get okay. Yeah, this one is like just convex Haltrick, and I can solve it. But yeah, that's my take.
And I think we have like a really very good contest. And let me tell you why.
كرر عدد من هنا سوي فيك اخي.
No, seriously, because why? Usually if you've contested, probably Khalil can confirm this, illustrative problems the MCPC and then ACPC and then ICPC, you will notice usually كيكونوا بحال هكا. Like usually the problems can be اصلا standardized like this, or problems that are kind of like ad hoc, will easy to solve. If you know some DP, you will solve the DP. If you know binary search, you will solve the problem. If you know some basic graph algorithms, you will solve it. DFS may be the worst. Like the worst case scenario, you will use like Dijkstra, which has on. Sometimes like you might need like it's more straightforward application, the Fenwick tree or segment tree. And then you go to ad hoc problems and some easy problems. By the way, our easy problems are really a little bit much better than MCPCs اللي كنشارك فيهم انايا اللي كانوا يكونوا problem setters مصريين. ماشي كتلقى problem صافي you're just gonna submit it. Although I argue why we do have overflow, ولكن it's a really good trick بالنسبه للدراري اللي يلاه بداو at least غيدخلوا ويتعلموا واحد حاجه واحده اخرى ولا حاجه جديده. So and if you go to ACPC, you will find exactly the same problems with extra things. Now, with one problem, you need two things. But you not solve a problem. So, and the implementation, problem like you can do just implementation plus, I don't know, topological source. And if you go a little bit further, يعني مثلا easy medium problems ديال ICPC يكونوا بحال ديال الانواع like القاد اللي okay. You know your Euler fee, like it's not going to be enough. You know Euler fee, which is, and you know, I don't know, graph algorithms, combinations gives you another problem. You see? Or like some sort of like DP on trees, which is able to So, we try to get both level deal MCPC and a little bit of level deal ACPC, so we can get a little bit people to be able to compete for the regional level because of the kind of one concern there mostly. So you will find really a lot of problems standard problems. I don't agree with this point. Many people need the standard problems. Just the fact that we had a topological source problem, it's more. ماشي standard. It's like really a little bit more. We had like dynamic programming problems. FFT like name game. I remember the first time I discovered name game, it was actually in an ACPC problem contest. Imagine me انا كندوز راه 5 سوايع انا في ديك الكونتيست كنت حماق جربت موديلو 2 جربت الكزور براسي جربتها في الاخر I was like انا ونين براسي فهمتي imagine 5 سوايع and then you don't discover this. So حنا كنحاولوا نحيدوا شويه هاد اللعيبات هادو. That's why sometimes you will find FFT سميتو like the last problem ديال comics week. So this kind of things اللي واخا كيبانوا they are standards, when you go to ACPC ما يعقلش عليك يحطوا لك, and most of the teams كتلقاهم have done by heart اصلا. It's not only about that.
Azouz.
Yeah.
To add to your point, 2016 AUI MCPC, there were 10 problems. The 10th of them was all pairs max flow. So you needed to find the max flow ما بين all pairs, and there is واحد algorithm معروف.
تينيك واقيلا ولا شي لعبه بحال هكا.
Right, I don't even remember. And at that point, my reaction was like, and I remember because I was a contestant. Yeah, I was like, why are they putting an algorithm blocker? Right? Because that's an algorithm blocker. If you don't know, it's very hard to come up with. My name is not Dinit. Obviously within the constraints of the contest, but later you realize at some point you need to learn these things. If you don't see them, you're not gonna go by yourself, go read about them, and you'll see them.
ماشي تاعنا عاوتاني تتعلم داك الالغوريثمز. Why did we allow documentation in the first place? فهمتي؟ It's also to get people to get used to participate in contests. We know this management في contest ديال teams is very weak. Like literally people don't compete like زعما. I'm pretty sure واخا يكونوا زعما like really good people, like really عارفين the algorithms when they go to ACPC level. Yes, they can solve all these problems, ولكن they're not going to solve them efficiently. So حتى the documentation اللي غدير معاك, knowing what other people في team ديالك strong زعما areas اللي كيعرفوهم, areas اللي حتى واحد في التيم اللي كيعرفوهم. Just دير معاك FFT الا ما عارفاش تعرف, دير معاك FFT, which is a good thing to have it في documentation ديالك.
one thing بالنسبه
مزيان.
انا في الدوك وين I was looking زعما فوست كونتيست الاغلبيه خدام فهمتي بالدوك ديال كي تي ال شو اكشلي فيها كونفيكس هالتريك مكتوبه but one solved it. والمشكله هذاك اللي استعمل هذيك ديال الدوك it didn't work for them and they solved it in another way. زعما knowledge I know that فهمتي most of the teams اللي جابوا الدوك عندهم كاينه تما.
Sam, can you tell us more about like how it was misinterpreted? Because
بلاتي انا جايك راه كاين الاخ عصام عنده بزاف تاع الحوايج باغي تشكى منهم. صافي وحده بوحده.
I want to get to the LSP1.
انا جاي لا تهضر انت هاك جاوبوا.
Okay. I have a lot. How do I start this? This is a good place. I come from a different world. Let me tell you a bit of background, Isam, and then we can have a conversation about this. When we started doing MCPs, I started 2014, right? Was the first one I did. I think we had TextMates, or text edits, a default text editor in Ubuntu, right?
Text edit,
yeah. And so we'd go down, we'd click C++, and we start writing no autocomplete, absolutely no smart stuff. Indenting was a huge number of spaces. It took me a year to figure out how to update indenting. It was done. But what it taught me the API. All I'm saying, and this I've told a bunch of teams during the contest, is here is where I stand. I think, and I'll give you kudos when you say Java people and Python people had LSPs that gave them autocompletion. Yes. And that's unfair to C++ people. Yes. That's as an information true. That's as an information, at face value. But the reality is that it did not impact as much as we think it might have. Because when you're really solving a problem, you know your language, you've chosen it because it's the language you're comfortable with. You know most of the APIs, right? And if you don't, you have if you're trying to solve a problem, you don't know the API, let's say, of an unordered set somehow. Like that's not something that you're comfortable with. You have the time to go look it up in the docs, which are available on every machine. And ultimately, the plus minus in terms of time, I would say for these type of problems that will require, and okay, you look into these things, is not that massive. So face value, that's right. It's probably better for everyone to have all of the language support that they can have. But I think impact, given how much we voice it, is different. It's not that impactful. I think, and maybe guys Henali are more C++ guys. Also, in my opinion, this is opinionated. I think the SCL is actually quite repetitive. Like once you know that you can push back in a vector, you can push back in a DQ, So a lot of the stuff is quite, and I'm not talking about obscure self-balancing trees where we can actually count.
But غنزيد واحد note for us, like it's fair, and I know like no promises, but we are gonna have this discussion with the system teams. Like, hey, if we can have this fixed or provided in the future contest, we will do our best. It's a valued feedback anyways. So
yeah, we're not gonna promise people sea lion.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course.
Licensing.
We're gonna have the discussion, and I'm keeping it as a note anyways to have it in the discussion now. But no promise.
Yeah, so we didn't think LSP is important, to be honest. Like,
Yes.
ما جبناش كاع في بالي اللي LSP is something that people know.
باي ذا واي كان كود بلوكس انا اي ثينك كود بلوكس فيه فيه الاوتو كومبليت وقيلا نو
Like what انا اقول لك شنو جاي من دماغي. Like when people complain about LSPs, so people want to use the things that they use in their own laptops.
Yes.
Nobody uses code blocks.
True. True,
They
true.
expected VS Code when they opened it up. Like I saw some other competitors اللي بغاو بطونة ديال run.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to compile the actual language.
Yes.
How can I run my solution? Now I wrote my solution. How can I run it? Because they didn't have like the run extension in VS Code. And
Yeah,
it's
that's the issue.
like completely. This is actually something that we need. But I guess like a lot of people wanted this and not just wanted, expected this to be installed in the IDEs. Wait, you can't.
Another thing زعما for people who were saying like Python etc. maybe شي حاجة اللي غتقنيها في time you will lose it في time limit بالنسبة ل other language. So that's you are already in an advantage if you are using C++ anyway. وإلا شفتي زعما the teams اللي ترانكاو top 4 or top 5 they were all using C++. This can give you an idea.
Okay, there is. قال عزيز قال remove all IDEs and leave him. ما كرهناش. It'll make systems team jobs easier. It'll make us all happier. But sadly, not a lot of people would know how to exit the editor. That's fine.
That's judging.
And let me see. Real talk. Who wants to take this? Ahmed Waqaida wants to take this.
Okay. I think we had enough time between documentation and like between the email and the contest. This is one. And we were like, if we got an email, we tried our best to answer. I personally, the emails I got, I answered them. The second thing, we had an orientation session where you could have asked these things, and we gave the option to bring documentation even after the practice session. Okay, so 3 things. It's your duty actually to ask. If you misinterpreted things, you could have asked another time, and like we could have helped you.
We had some people actually successing. We don't have even documentation. But
It's a part of the game, my friend.
What?
You ask Okay,
I
we
still
cannot.
don't know exactly how it was like easily misinterpreted, because I thought it was clear. ولكن fair زعما. I
It's
mean,
fine زعما we answered the emails. We answered emails
yeah,
about
and by
the
the way, like
topic.
داكشي اللي قال احمد is also fair. Like, hey, if you have concerns, don't be shy. Just ask questions. Man, the email, just contest, just ask question in the email. You may get an answer, maybe not. Most likely, you will get an answer. أصلاً.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So for future reference سيفطركم الناس ايميل كيكومينيكيو فيه شي انفورميشن ما فهمتيش ولا خفتي انه يتفهم عوج. We are human. We make mistakes. Please send us an email and say this could be misinterpreted. ولا ما فهمتش شنو هادشي, can you clarify more? And we'll be happy to answer these emails. And we
ولا
can't
انت
fix things if we don't
جيب
know
الدوك
the
معاك صافي جيب الدوك معاك حتى الكونتيست دان فهمتي دان تما نشوفوا واش نخليوها ولا ما نخليوهاش ما
Somebody's
خاص والو.
asking for ban. Okay. No, that's it, spamming. No. I guess it stopped. I put him on a timeout. Okay.
So for just here, I think dark vibes girl, at that time we couldn't print it since we realized it at the practice session. This is just general advice. When stuff like this happen, maybe just asking the judge as he's going down the stage, or maybe just even while هذا can help you figure out an actual solution. We had access to printers, so it might have been, I'm not saying that's what we would have done, but it might have been possible or to orient you to a printer to bring it past the practice. So I think هنا غير the takeaway هي we're lucky enough that it's a small community and it's kind of lenient. We don't have that same amount of big pressure. So just ask. I think people are afraid of asking, and I think just asking can go a very long way.
And another thing, like there were a lot of volunteers from the host institution. There were a lot of contestants from the host institution. I don't think if you ask a student, please print me this, they will say no. And you had enough time because we allowed it like even after the practice.
صفا احمد برد.
Actually, it was a good editorial. بزاف
Alright.
memes.
There are still other questions, hot topics. هاك أخي أحمد.
I can
بغا
answer
يجاوب
واحد شوية.
سير
Look,
هز.
to answer this very briefly, imagine one problem where it happened to me. I didn't know how to implement segment tree, and I didn't have documentation that implemented segment tree, and I knew that solution is a segment tree. So was it fair and now the problem where if I had a documentation in the segment tree, I would have solved the problem or not? Maybe not. Otherwise, like so instead of like bringing documentation on fast.io or segment tree or you will bring documentation of things that are really hard to remember, in my opinion. So
What is the question, Aslan? The question is, well, the thought is topics aren't a problem, but putting problems that require only to type in the docs and no problem solving is not right.
and by the way,
فين هو the problem where it only required this just like documentation, like things from the documentation.
And by the way, I think half of the judges didn't know that you can use FFT aslan, how to model the problem into an FFT, if FFT was the thing referred to here. So the problem was not aslan to just copy past FFT, rather how to solve the problem in FFT.
I think for me, I still see like for C, if you model it as an FFT, just implement it. Even if you have it in the doc, I will be proud. If you see it as an FFT, that's fine. That's if you model that specific problem like that, it's totally fine. Also, like I'm talking mainly about my problems. If you know, like you know convex hull trick, and you know that it solves that problem, and you implement it, you had it in the doc. Good luck. I will be very happy. But like the contest showed that only 6 teams solved C during the contest, and they had A50 in the doc. They modeled it as such. It was fine. I'm happy with that. For the other problem, there was one. So if you know you have this knowledge and you can model that problem in that specific with that can be solved with that specific algorithm, and you go with it, just go ahead.
I share
That's
an example of segment tree. Like it's kind of like the same thing. If you know how to model the problem with one algorithm, and you have that in all your documentation, it's fair. Otherwise, we can have discussions whether we should never allow documentation again in a contest.
yeah, that's also fine.
I don't think that's completely doable.
No, like because I will still yeah, I will still defend it like that. If you know how to model it, if you know that this problem is solvable with this technique, you went with it, good luck.
I want to comment on Leia. Like, probably when people say that we are kind of like enemies, and no, I don't think we are. Especially at editorial. بالعكس, we want people to actually have. احنا راها we want to see you.
شكون قال enemy؟
ما عرفت, because like we kind of like see that we're fighting. Oh yeah, you shouldn't have put واحد problem directly solved. We will be very proud as long as نشوفكم like in ACPC maybe winning it, maybe going to ICPC, and that's actually what we're trying to achieve. So
And another thing, like this is an educational event.
No, I'm not mentioning that. But clarify just in case someone is seeing it from that point of view.
As I told you, like for me, like this is an educational event. I wouldn't like, even if we had a problem where you have an algorithm in its implementation as it is, I wouldn't like it wouldn't bother me. This is an educational event. You learn new things. Maybe for you know this algorithm, but for another one does not know it. And by the way, for what Azus said before, in my first also interaction with name game was in ACPC. My first interaction, I never heard of it. Then and we found a direct implementation of an in game. After the contest, we say, okay, if we had this, we know we will implement this as it is, and we will be fine. So this is a part of the game, and if it's like straightforward, solve it, and we will be happy for you.
It's part of the game. It's part of the hustle. دراري الدراما.
المهم راه اللي كيشوف زعما كنهضر بهذه الطريقه راه ماشي معصوم ولا شي حاجه، راه this is normal life.
Yeah, I think just to add over, guys, sorry, I'm maybe taking too much time. I just think back about times where we actually had similar problems of not knowing a topic, knowing that we don't know a topic in the middle of a contest.
Khalid, my first MCPC, I implemented longest increase in subsequence, brute force. So I'm wondering why this stupid judge is giving me time to succeed. Like it was literally telling you do longest increase in subsequence. And they didn't have like book.
Yes, and it happens at some. انت وقعت لك بالاليس، انا وقعت لي on a other problem with Omar, for example, who knew a specific data structure in C++ that was able to give you the index of an item.
data structures.
Yeah, GD راه هما اللي حطوا البروبلمز.
I know, and imagine I was so mad. I missed because there was a square root decomposition.
Yeah, I remember that edition.
And I will never forget it. And another one where I had to come up in the contest with a 2D segment tree.
Yeah, I was with you.
I never knew it. I knew what a segment tree is now. Coming up with 2D.
I know which contest you're referring to.
Imagine in the middle of contest, you also know other people have it. So in the 2D segment tree, I know, for example, there was Ashraf who knew the other one, the BIT variant, which could also work in that case. So, and even in ACPC, we had these issues. Like we were like, oh, but we don't have this in the doc. It's very frustrating. So I understand, like, so you get that feeling of injustice, or some people just had it in the doc, right? You get that feeling. Oh, but some people just. But remember, these people thought about printing it in the docs, or they took docs that were KTH and you used your custom docs, which only cover topics that, for example, you know. And even then, a lot of people had F50 in their docs and did not submit F50. It doesn't mean that having it will help you. It means that if you have it, if you understand that you lack that, actually it's good. You're at a level where you know it's just the doc of F50 that you're missing, and you will learn it, and next time it will be okay. So I take it in a good. Alex, for me, these comments are really positive. They're showing us, in my opinion, that for a lot of people, they will pay attention to some topics. That's it. That's my pure opinion, and it's absolutely normal. The frustration, I've been there, and all of us understand it.
For L I know زعما I saw at least 10 teams. I saw it. I know that they had it, and only one solved it with a different way. Not why it was not in the doc. So okay.
And I think F50 just only had, I think, 6 or 7 teams that were trying F50. And like it's misleading because like we had 145 submissions or something like this. A lot of people were actually submitting the n-square solution in Python. So if there is a chance it would pass, it was not in Python.
Yeah, for like we got it with n squared in Python. Wow. Okay. If we give it 1 year time limit, maybe. Yeah.
All right.
كاين بزاف ديال questions regarding next MNPC. By the way, we don't know. Most of people here are
داكشي علاش ما نجاوبش because we have no idea.
we have no we are like really out of this. We just like know that we wish there is a contest every week minus preparation problems.
Every week.
Like if we can get problems, we can give you as many contests as you want. Well, like we don't know actually, Zama. We really have no idea. So we're sorry to like being able to give you that information at least.
Okay. I have a good question. عطوني عندي زيني شي واحد اللي ما هضرش. يلا خساره.
The latest
دولة سويد.
حمزة هو the youngest.
new tips new contestants. أنا كون رجعت في الوقت بديت أول مرة بديت كنشارك في السي بي مثلا شنو كنت باغي نقول لراسي. I think دير واحد الجول مثلا الا كنتي كيعجبك تكون الا كنتي كدير كومبيتيتيف بروغرامين يعني كتكون انت باغي تكون كومبيتيتيف يعني دير واحد الجول مثلا في كود فورس داير واحد الجول بغيت العام الجاي نولي سبيشاليست الا كنتي يلاه بديتي ولا بغيت نولي جرين شي حاجه اللي غتبقى تموتيفيك هادشي كان شي حاجه مزيانه نلقى جروب ديال كومبيتيتيف بروغرامرز تخدم معاهم solve problems practice هذا هما التيبس اللي كاين عندي.
ما قدرتيش تخرج لهم شي حاجه كاع ما كايناش خسرتي عليهم براكتيس. هادشي علاش صعب.
سيتاغو كيكسي سيتاغو ما تخدمش في الهواء
نخش لها. اوكي. Thank you, Hamza. Let's go to another young programmer. Let's go to Anwar.
Okay, so كنظن for new programmers خاصك دونك goals باش تراكي progression ديالك. but عاود واحد الحاجه كتضيع فيها باش كتكون beginner هو انك كتبقى تقرا مثلا topics كتبقى في داك اللوب ديال I don't know enough كتمشي تقرا توبيكس كتبقى تسولفي زعما داكشي ديال التوبيكس كتبروغريسي غير في النوليدج وفي بروبليم سولفين كيبقى واحد الجاب كبير زعما واخا دير كونتيست في كود فورسز بروبليمز اللي ماشي في ديف 2 غالبا ما تحتاجش نوليدج كبيره ولكن ما تسولفيهمش مثلا لانك ما بروغريسيتيش في بروبليم سولف دونك ولكن في نفس الوقت خاصك هذوك التوبيكس ديجا على ود كونتيست بحال MNPC ولا ICPC type problems و generally عاود you will need هذاك knowledge at some point. Donc best balance between the two I think هو انك تقرا غير غير الكونسيبت ديال كل ديال دوك التوبيكس. دونك مثلا FFT here's what it does مثلا ولا اي الجو هكذا مثلا في دي بي شي دي بي اوبتمايزيشن here's what it does، ولكن you don't go deep في انك تفهمها exactly. ولا بانت لك في شي كونتيست ولا في شي كونتيست you can take هذاك الكود و use it as a black box and then you take هذيك الopportunity باش يلا تفهم هذاك الالجو سواء بوندو هذاك الكونتيست ولا مورا. و so you won't know هذاك الدبث ديال دوك التوبكس، دونك ما تقدرش تادابتيهم exactly، ولكن if غتبروغريسي بشويه وغتكون عارف فاش تخدم دوك هذوك التوبكس. دونك I think this is an interesting way اللي تقدر تريني به. I don't know if you guys have any thought on this.
any other
واحد الحاجه اللي في كود فورس بعدا ما كتحتاجش تعرف بزاف ديال ما كتحتاجش تكون عندك بزاف النوليدج في كود فورس. كنظن كاين اللي وصل ما عرفتش ماستر ولكن ما عندوش شي نوليدج اللي ما عرفش شي الجوريثمز زعما اللي في شكل. كاين اللي هنا اللي عارفين داك الالجوريثمز ولكن ما تقدرش توصل حيت في كود فورس كيعتمدوا على الاوبزرفيشنز. خصك تكون كتوبزرفي، خصك تكون مسولفي بزاف البروبلمز. دونك النوليدج ماشي ضروريه بزاف ملي تكون يلاه بادي، تقدر كاع ما تركزش على النوليدج بزاف فيها.
Okay, let me see. Should we focus on topics-based problem?
داكشي اللي كنت كندير انا الصراحه في الاول، واش صحيح واش غلط I don't know، ولكن داكشي اللي كنت كندير انا كنت كنشوف في هاكر ايرث، كنشوف توبيك بتوبيك وكنخدم عليهم. هذيك هي الطريقه اللي خدمت بها انا.
يس بيرسونيلمون انا هكذاك خدمت، ولكن كنظن it would have been better حيتاش مختلفه على ليسبري ديال الكونتيست. فاش كتكون في كونتيست ما عندكش التاغ ديال هو التوبيك اللي كتخدم في هذا البروبليم. دونك خاصك حتى داك الثينكين تبروغريسي، ما خصكش تبقى فوكس غير على توبيكس. ها توبيك اكس غنخدم بروبلمز ديالو موراها هوب I can just land exactly في هذا type of problems who will recognize a topic.
Okay, we've kind of went through everything that we should go through. So it's all about so it's all about quantity. Well, pretty much. The more you solve, the more you know, the more you'll be able to. It's basically the way I think about it is like you're training your brain to pattern match against like problems. Those people they are toply rated. They are like if you take 5 minutes to read a problem, he'll take 2 minutes to solve it. He just looks at it and then he gets the answer and then he does it. The way this works is that his brain can pattern match against like existing patterns and it can extract previous solutions pretty fast. And you can only do this if you practice a lot. كيبقى داك شويه ديال الدلتا اللي كتبقى ديال skill, natural ability. But إلا بغيتي توصل مثلا I don't know to a good level of CP, the most important bit is practice. And in practice it means like solve as many problems as you can. Work. No, nothing to talk about work here. ما عندناش context about where has that landed yet. واش باقي غنرجعوا للام سي بي سي؟ probably not in the near term ولا probably not in the near term. Let me put it this way. ما عنديش شي حاجه في راسي اللي كتقول باللي we are going back to doing MCPC and going back to ACPC participations in the near future.
عزوز بغا يقول شي حاجه.
عزوز swap.
كنت باغي نقول لك شي حاجه كومنت على داك البلان ديال البراكتيس. I think it's fair to just like try to get نقول لك زعما if you want to be good just try to get ready for code forces. Why would you put yourself level ديال المغرب بخصوص just go if you can get expert candidate master and so on. If you want to just compare yourself مع levels المغرب, I used to do that. I started guy my friends with the people that I know they were better they contest often. So if I try to solve the problems faster, I try to contest in every contest they do. If you want to win MNPC, then you would like to know Editorial of code forces. Probably invite them. And by the way, I noticed this with MNPC ما كانش بزاف ديال socializing ما بين teams. While in our case, just go and talk to the other person. Tell me how you solve this and how you solve the other one. كتاخذ handle ديال code forces. You ask them to include your contest إذا كانوا كيديروا شي حاجة. صافي you just like try to contest against each other. كاينين حتى جيمز اللي كيكونوا بعض المرات كتدخل وكتشوف the other teams ديال ICPC ولا ACPC ولا GCPC ولا whatever شنو كاين. You need to try to do that. Otherwise, just try to get a very good. It's that easy. You can قلنا هذه دار هذا غير فهمتيني. قلنا هذه دابا نعطيوه وحده يلاه غدا ولا بعد غدا لكن anyways. So I'm just like saying that and I was like I'm saying red because you can do it. Like I don't know why you can't do it. So blacks will be proud. So just go for it.
To add I think there was a lot of competitiveness between us. I think the people you see here at some point or another were in one contest starring each other in a tab and looking at how fast they are solving problem B, because that made the difference. But for me at least, and I give a different perspective, I like structure in my training, so I don't like just reading a topic like I know what I should be reading. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be reading or why. So I got a book. This is an ad plug for competitive programming 3. I guess the 4th version is out, right? Some people, Ashraf, who also very good competitive programmer, used to read CP algorithms and go practice. There is another website. No, write it down. I think it was very instructive for me. Yuzako, I think it's for Olympiad.
USA Olympiad, I guess one.
Yeah, I mean, I just call it Yuzako. It's USA.
ديال البقرة.
Yeah. So all problems are based on cows. But they were very nice. Very, very nice. I think it's a gem. So these two, for me at least.
غير الكسيس لي احنا كنا طفينا.
شوف انا راه عندي 12 و 48 دقيقه ديال الليل. انا راه وصل عندي 2 نتوما راه ما وصل عندكم 2.
شي كسيس شويه بلي فاكتوري كاسين اخر غيصيفط لك فاكتور.
جي شحال ديال المشاهدين عندنا المشاهدين
ترى ما فهمتش انا 30 واحد اخر لايف درنا كانوا فيه 10 بقاو 5. انا شاريت معكم اللي قال لكم خالد this looks very weird. تبدل هذا السيت هذا ما كانش داير هكا. شي واحد
دابا راه زوين.
شي واحد خدم له عزيز
والله لا دابا زوين وكيعطيو فهمتي بروبليم
مع شنو سميت هذاك السيت اللي كان فيه شي جامعه صبليونيه UVA اكفى السيت.
هذاك مازال اكفس لدابا واحد القضيه هادو اللي كانوا كيتشكاو على بريسيجن وهذا الشيء اي ثينك دي ديدن't try UVA
باي ذا واي الدراري حتى كاتيس الى عقلتو
كاتسي
يوجدوا كاتيس
كاتشيس مزيان.
والله يا
كاتيس جميل.
UVA كتجيك لونغ انسر على نيو لاين وهذا دابا بنادم كيتشكى لا بريسيجن
رونغ انسر ماشي بريزنتيشن
رونغ انسر
رونغ انسر
يمكن حيت نسيتي واحد نيو لاين في تيست كيس ان في الاخر كان ديما خصك تشيكي واش هذه هي لاست تيست كيس الا كانت لاست تيست كيس ما ديرش نيو لاين
وهذا ديال كيس نمبر
خصك تزيد شويه.
ماشي كود جاب كان كيديرها فهمتي الى الابد مازال كان كيدير كود كيس
ولكن يو في اي كيطلع لي بروبليم بي دي اف وسط اليو اي
لا ما تبارتي ما دير والو غادي تبقى تشوف فيه ويشوف فيك داك البروبليم
وداكشي ديال تكوبي الكيسز بنادم داصر فهمتي كيدير كوبي في كود فورس يدخل يو في اي كتكوبي من البي دي اف كتبان لك فهمتي ما كاين لا سبيس لا والو كتكوبيها وعاد تضارب معاهم تما تفورماتي
Anyway, like even the author into competitive programming 3 noticed this to update links to the problems اللي كاتيس في الفيرجن الاخرى. Alright, شرفة ساعة سعيدة 2 و45 دقيقة. This was one of the longest editorials اللي درنا.
زكاة العلم
زكاة في الله يجعلها سنة رمضان. I hope you had fun. You learned one thing or two على problems. You learned one thing or two على how to practice from الناس هذو اللي جاوا عطاونا وقتهم. But yeah, I guess this is all that I wanted to say. كاين شي واحد بغى يقول شي حاجة أخرى قبل ما I want to shut down the live نمشي الناس.
ديديكاس لعزوز
ولا عزاء الحاقدين.
ولا
رسالة الكونجي صاحبي ما عرفت غنمشي غدا خليها
سير غتقضها بيسي
Okay, Brady says everybody says thank you and see you probably next year.
ان شاء الله
ان شاء الله الله يعاونكم.
You guys
see you
تفضل.
تشاو.